Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
It is draft night in the National Basketball Association. A great Wednesday night to you, a great draft night to you. Are you excited for who your team is going to select tonight? The NBA draft, it doesn't seem to have maybe the same cachet as the NFL draft. I honestly have no idea who the Cavs are even thinking about picking. I actually have no idea where the Cavs are even picking.
How much of that do you think has to do with the NFL's 3-year rule, right?
Yeah.
Where, it used to be, there was a time before Kobe and KG where you got to know college players. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird are who they are, in large part due to having the largest television audience ever for their national championship game when they were still in college. Then they got drafted by the 2 biggest rivals in the NBA at the time. Legend was born. But nowadays, DK, look at the top of the draft board, the predictions. There's 5 or 6 Frenchmen. There's a lot of players that maybe played 1 year. A Kentucky Reed Shepherd, for instance. The connectivity between the average fan, unless they're a player from the team that you followed all year long, the Arizona Wildcats, for instance. I think the NFL has the benefit of 3 years. Players play 3 years in college, and a lot of those names become very familiar before the NFL draft comes around.
They're calling this potentially the second worst top pick in the last 20 years of the NBA draft. There's no Victor Wembanyama. There's no generational player at the top of this draft tonight. It kind of makes you feel sorry for the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks have the first round pick tonight, the number 1 overall pick tonight. So you kind of feel bad for them. Victor Wembanyama last year, that's probably I mean, when you talk about you go from there,
Exactly.
getting a pick that could set your franchise up for the next 15 plus years to now whoever is going to be. And again, it's largely probably going to be a foreign player that we don't know. Now, JW, go probably a little bit better back on this than I do. Did we know who Nikola Jokic was?
No.
You know, the year that he got picked?
No.
And see, that's the thing. I mean, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know if Sar, who is scheduled to be, or who many people believe is going to be the first pick tonight, we don't know if he's potentially if not a generational player, at least a player who could be at the top of the list and lead your team to NBA glory and the NBA Finals. See, I mean, we knew who Luka was. I mean, we knew that.
Yeah.
We just didn't know who Nikola Jokic was.
I think your point of Wemby is the main point, which is it's all relative. So this year's draft, as far as big splashy names are concerned, the year after the best prospect of all time, there's never been a 7'4" guy with guard skills to come in the NBA ever. So say what you will about LeBron was a better prospect, you know, MJ, you could pick a number of players coming out of their amateur status in the NBA, but none of them were 7'5" with guard skills, DK.
Yeah.
And among the defensive leaders in the NBA in year one, this draft has none of those things. As far as foreigners, it's the same thing. It's relative perspective. What happened was Dirk Nowitzki, DK, Tony Parker, these kind of names got drafted late in the rounds, right? These were not top 5 picks.
Right.
And developed into all generational Hall of Fame level players. So what ended up happening is the copycat nature of sports. A bunch of NBA GMs started reaching for a bunch of foreigners in the next 10 drafts, and very rarely did those guys pan out. So a lot of fans out there are thinking, here we go, another guy's name I've never heard of before. We're going to take a reach on this guy's going to be terrible. But the fact that, you know, Giannis wasn't super highly, I mean, he was obviously athletic, but he was very raw coming out. People knew he could be something, but they didn't know if he could be this good. Obviously, Joker was a much later kind of a prospect coming out. Nobody thought he would develop into a multiple MVP, but Giannis, Joker, and Embiid are the MVPs in the last 4 years, right? So as far as the current state of the NBA, there's a lot of foreign influence. There's a lot of guys, and there's a lot more sophistication when it comes to a lot of those countries. We may talk about this when we talk about Pelle being available in this draft. They get an opportunity to play professional ball in their countries a lot earlier than in America, right? So 16, 17-year-olds, why is Luka as good as he is? Well, a large part of that is to do with when he was 14, he was playing against 20-year-olds, you know, professionally. When he was 17, DK was playing against 30-year-olds. So getting better and honing your skills a lot of times has to do with playing against other players. Many countries around the world have semi-professional leagues and leagues that those guys get into. So who knows? I've heard Alexander Sarr's name mentioned for the past 2 years as one of the top prospects that would be in this draft. Other than that, it's really, there's very few and far between, DK, players that we can relate to. And those
I don't even know the top American.
Well, I was going to say,
Reed Shepard. Who's that?
He's a shooting guard from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Good defensive player, a very lights-out shooter. And again, unproven. Stephen Castle, on the other hand, he's a guy that everybody saw from UConn. Their center, Klingen's going to be up there as well. The guys we would know.
I know Tristan Da Silva.
I was going to say, the guys we would know is literally the two guys from Colorado. Cody Williams is expected to go in the top 10, and Tristan Silva somewhere in the top 15.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me put it this way. A lot of players at the top of the draft that the Arizona Wildcats did not see this year, and we did not do a lot of deep dives into research in their backgrounds. Yeah, it's tough. It's so tough to predict. You know, Dalton Knecht had a huge splash last year when he got to Tennessee. He's an interesting prospect. But there are a lot of guys that are going to come off the board tonight, DK, and fan bases are going to be like, who they drafted who? I got to go look into this guy a little bit.
And Zachary Richard is also potentially projected to be a top 2 pick. What do we know about him?
I don't know much of anything.
Yeah.
I do know that, again, like I said, there are, I think, 4 Frenchmen who may come off the board in the lottery, and he's among them. I know that he's a big body 6'9" guy who's got a lot of guard skills as well. Obviously, otherwise you aren't, and a defensive guy as well. But as I said, I think for me personally, I remember going back to the Luka draft, and everybody was talking about, this guy's can't miss prospect and all this stuff. But you would go and watch these, outside of the Euro League finals and whatnot that he had played in. It's really hard to gauge what level of competition a lot of those leagues that these guys are playing in are, and how that translates, and the bigger, faster physicality of the NBA. It's just a completely different game on so many levels. And some guys really shine in that environment. Clearly, Luka, one of the better competitors we've seen come out of international play. You could tell every time he's on that court, he really just wants to win games. I've seen some other foreign guys who had all the skills that were needed to be successful at the NBA level, DK, but maybe their heart wasn't in it, head wasn't in it. So I don't know, man. I think that as far as the names at the top of the board is lacking, second weakest, as you just said. But to me, it's maybe the most unpredictable as far as future prospects, as far as the production value you may get at the top of the draft. There's not a lot of guarantee.
520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. 520-848-1290. We want to hear who you think your favorite team is going to pick tonight in the NBA draft. You can call us at that number, 520-848-1290. You can text us at that number. There are a couple of Arizona Wildcats prospects on the board tonight. Keshad Johnson, Pelle Larsson are both expected to, well, not necessarily go tonight. There's only going to be one round of the draft this evening, and then we'll go to round 2 tomorrow, as they kind of are a little bit like the NFL, and they're going to do this on 2 separate nights. Right now, CBS Sports Network has Keshad Johnson as the 47th ranked player on their draft board, Pelle Larsson as the 60th round or 60th rated player on their draft board. So we will hear from both of them coming up today as we get you set. The draft is scheduled to start at 5 o'clock. We will attempt to try to get you all the picks live here that take place in the 5 o'clock hour. So you'll hear who the number one pick is going to be. Will it be Alex Sarr out of France? Will it be Zachary Richard out of France? Will it be Reed Shepherd out of Kentucky? Maybe. The freshman, as J-Dub was talking about. The Suns have a pick in the first round. It is number 22. Down around where? Who is rated down there? Zach Edey. Zach Edey kind of rated in that range. Is Zach Edey potentially a fit here in the desert with the Suns, who need some help defensively? I don't know if they need, help defensively from the big spot, but they definitely need some perimeter defenders.
Can he play,
and a point guard?
Can he play point guard?
I don't think he has the guard skills you were talking about in relationship to Victor Wembanyama.
No, I mean, I think Zach Edey's interesting in that a lot of people don't realize how good a shape that dude was in during his last 2 years in college. He didn't really miss minutes. I mean, so a lot of big guys that are kind of lumbering like that, you might think. His numbers kind of are off the chart, efficiency in the paint, all those things. How, DK, that translates into playing against bigger athletes with a lot more bounce, a lot more length that can challenge a lot of his shots, we'll see. But he's not going to change from being 7'3", 360 or whatever the hell he weighs. Big dude. And very skilled for his size. I personally think the Suns' style of play with their roster right now is the exact opposite of a player like Zach Edey, because if anything, they need to go faster than they did last year in the playoffs, especially. They really struggled getting into offensive sets once they got late in the clock. You'd think with guys like Booker and KD, now we may, Mike Budenholzer might have some fixes for that. They do have a new coaching staff in place, but relative to the style that they've have with that roster and the way those guys like to play, I don't know if the guy quite that big running up and down the court is really what they're looking for.
The Suns, we heard their owner, Matt Ishbia, we heard him say at the end of the season that first-round picks are collateral in his mind. First-round picks are to be used to get established players. We've seen them already do this once. Will they do it again tonight? They can't trade this pick until tonight. I think once the clock starts is the first time that the Suns can actually attempt to trade their first-round pick. Because they've traded so many of their first-round picks in recent years, they are binded to keeping this pick at least until draft night. Then if they want to trade it, they certainly can. So that's the question, and that is the question of the day. Head on over right now, Wildcats 1290, our Twitter page, and you can answer today's question of the day. Is Matt Ishbia and the Suns brass, James Jones, are they going to trade that pick at 22 tonight? Yes, and they may trade it with a player. That's the prevailing rumor on the national scene. There have been multiple rumors about the future of Kevin Durant in a uniform with the words Suns across the front of it. So much so that Matt Ishbia he had not tweeted in over a month, but he tweeted today about 2 hours ago. Matt Ishbia put out a tweet. I'll read it to you right now. NBA draft night is the best. Everyone talking about the drama and storylines. Some are right. Some are just wrong. My turn. Ooh, my turn, says Matt Ishbia. Phoenix loves Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant loves Phoenix. And we are competing for a championship this year because we have the team to do it. Gotta love draft night. Go Suns. So Matt Ishbia trying to quiet the noise that he and his team are even thinking about trading Kevin Durant away, the most prevailing landing spot being the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I mean, everybody at this point who's followed along should pay attention, should understand the smoke screens involved around the NBA draft have just gotten so outrageous. And what happened yesterday, listeners, if you weren't paying attention, is there's a certain individual named Woj, and he likes to drop what's called Woj bombs of information. And he's super locked in. He's got a lot of connections within all the NBA front offices. And so generally, he's the first to have information about NBA trades or any big news. The one franchise he doesn't have any insiders in specifically is the Phoenix Suns. And so yesterday, and he's taken great offense to that he doesn't have any inside connections to the Suns. So he yesterday decided to drop a lot of information about the Houston Rockets trying to get their Suns draft picks back and that KD was going to be going there. And that kind of started a lot of this conversation going on within the last 18 hours. I am so over smoke screens around the NBA draft. It's like any story that comes out specifically about some outrageous trade scenario. What were the thoughts about Mikal Bridges going to the Knicks?
Yeah.
Zero. Like, nobody was talking about that the previous month. Nobody. It just happened. That's how that's how real trades happen in the NBA. Outside of some mega superstar, looking at you, Kyrie and James Harden, forcing their way out of a franchise, DK, by demanding a trade vocally to the media. Outside of that, I mean, especially around the draft right now, it's just a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Well, you mentioned, obviously, the Suns are in dire need of a point guard. Again, we're working today off the CBS Sports Radio, or CBS, not CBS Sports Radio, but CBSSports.com. Their two mock drafts, both by their two talented writers, Kyle Boone and Gary Parrish. Love Gary Parrish down in Memphis, my old stomping ground. Gary. Tyler Kolek from Marquette is one of the point guards who will likely be on the board at number 22, and they both have the Suns picking him in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a guy who takes care of the ball and looks for teammates and isn't like looking to jack up their own shot, right? You're talking about a rookie point guard maybe coming in to hang out with Beal and Booker and KD. That? Stop shooting, Rook. Your job's not to shoot. Your job is to get the ball to these all-stars. Like, that's who, if they're going to get a young point guard to come in.
Talk about pressure.
It better be somebody who's not looking for his own.
That's why I don't know if they can do that. That's why I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah, I don't know either. There aren't a lot.
That doesn't make any sense if you think you're in win now mode with 3 potential future Hall of Famers, that you're going to put your franchise in the hands of some rookie from Marquette.
No. Not in win now mode again. Like, only if they really defer and take a way back seat, and basically their job is to not turn the ball over, DK, and to be efficient offensively. Like, that's the only role that a young point guard can have within that particular group that they've got up there in Phoenix.
All right, 520-848-1290 is the number to get on the program. We'll talk more. We're going to talk a lot of NBA today. We talked a lot of hockey yesterday. We'll talk some hockey as well today, a little bit later in the 4 o'clock hour. Cricket, though, getting you home right now every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported 22nd Street near Kolb on 22nd Street near Kolb Road. Drexel near Craycroft. Traffic on Drexel west of Craycroft is closed due to a crash. 84 the overnight low. Tomorrow 105 with a chance of rain and 102 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. Play social games online for free. Head to ChumbaCasino.com now to join the Chumba fun and experience the thrill of the Chumba life. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
My helmet saved me after they crashed into my motorcycle, but I still couldn't ride for weeks. The insurance company tried hammering me into a quick settlement. No way. I gave them the bird, the eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. Nobody knows Arizona like the eagle. Phoenix to Tucson, Flagstaff to Havasu, and every bit of blacktop in between. Wherever you go, the eagle is there. So if you've been injured, don't wait. Give the insurance company the bird.
Give them the bird. Call the Eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
If you're a do-it-yourselfer looking for quality car parts in Tucson, look no further. Advance Auto Parts has 6 Tucson locations with over 75 years in business. Advance Auto Parts is the largest car parts retailer in the U.S., and customers know they can trust their products, like Die-Hard batteries. Now with free installation, only found at Advance Auto Parts stores. Take advantage of our same-day delivery and pickup. Just visit our website at stores.advanceautoparts.com. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Advance Auto Parts, for all your car repair needs. Now a proud radio sponsor of the University of Arizona Wildcats.
Desperate buyers have created tremendous opportunity for sellers. If you've had the slightest thought of selling your home, it's time to call Sean Poston with the Poston Results Team at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Why choose the Poston Results Team? Past performance, more money in your pocket, over a 65% referral rate, an incredible Poston Results Team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Poston Results Team. When buying and selling really mattered, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
Time for the hot weather polar bear promise. Alaskan AC arrives in 1 day or your repair is free.
Wait, say that again?
We arrive in 1 day or your repair is free?
Again, but longer on the A.
We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. Hear it?
No. Alaskan AC, service guarantee. We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. By George, he's got it. With the Alaskan AC service guarantee, we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Are we really doing this?
That's awesome, Gary. With Alaskan AC service guarantee,
we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
We should probably
sing with us, William.
I would really rather.
Come on.
I don't want to.
Chicken bok bok.
Guys, no.
It's catchy.
Do it.
Sing out, Louise.
Fine.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Whoa.
Whoa is right.
Can we get back to work now?
Schedule anytime at AlaskanAC.com.
Incredible.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards, but without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And while cars do need wheels, they also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever, the Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Your home for in-depth conversation.
Nothing they do is by surprise. They telegraph what they want to do, and then they brag about it afterwards. It's a way to keep us at each other's throats.
The most pressing issues.
This was just a white on black crime, and you can already see the narrative starting to form in real time.
And fresh perspective.
The air marshals will not be on the airplanes because they're down at the border escorting illegal aliens to their Ubers.
America's most loved truth tellers live on Tucson's home for conservative talk. This is Freedom 1400.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Draft night in the National Basketball Association. It will begin at 5 o'clock. The Suns are not scheduled to potentially pick until likely after the 6:30 hour, so probably closer to around 6:55 as they are at the bottom of the first round. We're talking about some of the folks, obviously, that were involved in this draft, and particularly guys that we've had a chance to see here in the Pac-10. You remember, interestingly enough, we were talking about the two kids from Boulder that were on the roster. That people in Tucson, though, didn't get the chance to really see either one of those guys play because they were both hurt. That game they came in here. Yeah. The first game, neither Cody Williams or Tristan De Silva played, and then we did get to see them in the second game when De Silva came. They were both back. De Silva scored 20 points in that game, and Cody only had 8. But that was that game where Arizona just went to Boulder and demolished them by 20 points.
Yeah, I mean that was a big game later in the year when they were obviously trying to maintain and push their lead out in the conference, and that was the issue with the Buffaloes. Obviously, was their health the whole season. Yeah, okay? I mean that roster healthy the whole season probably is a contending team. At least is a team that makes a deep run. I really like Tristan De Silva. I think U of A fans, DK, despite not seeing him in McHale last year, saw quite enough of Tristan De Silva over the years because he tended to kill Arizona every time he saw him. And as far as Cody Williams goes, I really like his brother. They call him J-Dub. His brother is amazing for Oklahoma City. He's 23 years old, and I don't know from watching Cody. I mean, a lot of people think he's a better prospect. He's a little skinnier, doesn't seem quite as skilled. His outside shot needs a little bit more work. Cody's a knockdown guy and really a creator. When Shea is not doing his thing, DK, it's J-Dub's really doing all the work. But a lot of people had Cody Williams as high as number 1 on some mock drafts 6 months ago. So definitely those two Buffaloes are very high on the list. But it's odd not seeing a ton of West Coast / Pac-12 representation that we're used to seeing.
Well, we mentioned Tyler Kolek is one of the point guards in the first round of this draft. Maybe a lot of folks pointing to the Phoenix Suns potentially drafting him. Started his career at George Mason and then played 3 years at Marquette with that fine program this past year. Averaged 15 points a game for that club. But how about this name? He also dished out. The last 2 years, he's averaged 8 assists per ball game. So, again, one of the better distributors in college basketball last year. But how about this name? The great Suns beat writer with the Arizona Republic, Dwayne Rankin, saying not Tyler Kolek, but Isaiah Collier out of USC.
Hey, he's not a point guard. I mean, he could probably do a little combo stuff. That guy's a slasher more than anything. I mean, I think he and his style, it's hard to make comps at this stage, but there's a little bit of young Beal in there. I mean, he really is a very good at putting his head down and getting to the rim, and is going to be a good knockdown shooter, good mid-range shooter these days. Obviously, Arizona saw a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly. I think more than likely, based on Ishbia's words, it's win now, and win now doesn't mean 22-year-old point guard, right?
Exactly.
I think that I wouldn't take. It takes maybe people don't recognize the difference of level of competition at the NBA level from even just beneath that. But it is the best of the best of the best of the best playing with their hair on fire every single night. There's not a lot of the 90s. I used to hear stories of guys going out and drinking until 3 a.m. and all that stuff and coming in and playing DK. I don't know that it would take more than 5 games before guys like Booker and KD would get frustrated by the lack of experience at that level and understanding how NBA offense is so fast. You got to make decisions so fast at that level. So if they're in win, if truly the players are in win now, they always are. The new ownership wants them to, with this particular group that they just spent a bunch of picks on to get Kevin Durant here in the first place, want to make something of that, have some hardware to show for that. I don't think the solution to that is getting any kind of young guard in to run that offense, again, unless they're willing to defer quite a bit of the decision-making and they're really just there to be a non-turnover machine who can get them in offense.
So because this is not a stacked draft and you're picking down at 22, though, are you maybe looking at that pick? Yeah, you might take a point guard, but it's not. But you're thinking more of let's take a kid that we can develop for the future, still with the mindset that we're going to go out and try to make a guard on the free agent market, a point guard on the free agent market happen.
I will say this, that the mentality, modern mentality is that draft picks are very valuable, but players are not. So it's like driving a new car off a lot. It's already 12% of your depreciation is gone. So the idea of a draft pick, the potential of what that could be in the eyes of GMs that's why you see so many picks moving around these last 5 or 8 years or whatever. And some teams like Oklahoma City and Houston stockpiling those picks. The Nets, we haven't even talked about that. They got, just really quick, the official result of the Kevin Durant trade was the Nets got back Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. They just flipped Mikal Bridges for 5 picks from the Knicks. They, in essence, got 9 first-round picks for Kevin Durant. Picks are far more important. So if you want to pick a young player that you plan to develop and will stay with the roster, it's 3 years with the team option for the 4th year. That's how long that rookie contract's going to be. That's the window maybe that this group can stay together, DK, 2-3 years. So I think it's much more likely that they maybe turn that pick into some part of it because they don't have a lot of assets right now. They've got a lot of big salaries. They obviously don't want to get rid of Beal and Booker and those guys. They just brought them here. So to answer your question, I think it's much more likely if they don't pick a person to try to develop and put them on the bench for a few years, it's more likely that they're going to use that pick to parlay for some kind of trade to get a veteran point guard in to help them out.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. Your thoughts as we go into the NBA draft tonight, what you expect to see, what you want to see, where you'd like to see your 2 Arizona Wildcats land. We mentioned Isaiah Collier potentially as a guard prospect that could be on the Suns draft board, but we haven't discussed the top kid out of the school in Los Angeles that everybody is talking about as it relates to this draft, and that is one LeBron James Jr., and whether he will be picked in the 2nd round by his dad's Lakers. Might he be picked in the 2nd round by one of his dad's former teams, the Cleveland Cavaliers, as a potential way maybe to lure LeBron back for one more run on the North Coast? LeBron James Jr., for a guy that didn't necessarily stand out per se in the Pac-12 conference in his 1 year, certainly the one player that a lot of people are talking about tonight.
Yeah, I think his defensive potential outweighs his offense currently. I think he's definitely an NBA body. Obviously, very young. The heart issue that he had over the summer last year really stunted his development at this level. He also played DK for a high school with 12 Division I basketball players on it. So his numbers from high school. My biggest issue, I think, with this is human beings as leverage in this way. In the past, most leagues, DK, if you have a player that's valuable because they're in demand, they have a skill set that your franchise needs, lefty pitcher, relief, whatever, then the idea behind their value is set by what they can do for you on the field, on the court. Bronny James right now is being dangled as a valuable asset because of luring his father, the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, potentially to your franchise. It's a very, very odd situation. Now, LeBron said that whole thing in jest. My goal, I'm not going to retire until I play with my son. I want to become the first NBA father-son to play together on the same team. That's what he said 3 years ago. And this is, I don't think I've heard LeBron talk about that concept much. And he's obviously backed off these last 6 months. He said that's not necessarily a necessity, but because of the, because of the way that this leverage system works in an NBA draft week, of course, Bronny James is the biggest topic of conversation because Zach Edey's not sexy, I guess. It's like they're the guys that we know of because of their time in college don't move the needle like the all-time leading scorer in NBA history might come play for the Hawks if you draft his kid. And I don't know. I'd much rather be talking about Bronny James potentially as a prospect, but that ship sailed long ago because all anybody can talk about, nobody I don't think really knows how good a player he could be. He should have stayed in college for a year or two more, at least in my opinion, because he's spent his whole life, DK, around the NBA. Like, we're talking about, think of Steph Curry's childhood, growing up with Dell on the sidelines of Hornets games. Like, that's Bronny James and any of his kids' life. They've been around the NBA life they understand they understand what it takes for practice habits. They understand how, intense that life is, right? So you don't have to teach Bronny James what the NBA is all about. The question is, does he want it? Right? Like, it's him. He's the only person who can turn Bronny James into anything other than a footnote about LeBron James's career. So time will tell how much Bronny James loves the game of basketball, how much he wants to improve every single day of his life. And, if that is the case, I think he has the skill, he has the stature to be a competent NBA player. He's not ready right now. And it's just about what his dad's going to do in free agency, which, by the way, he's not exactly locked in stone with his contract, so there's a lot of wiggle room there. We'll see what happens.
That's why it's such a big conversation.
Yeah, we'll see what happens
tonight. All right, we're going to talk much more NBA draft. We want to hear what you have to say. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. The two Arizona Wildcats in this process. Pelle Larsson and Keshad Johnson took a number of visits on their trek to work out for various NBA teams. We will hear from them straight ahead. First of all, though, cricket. We'll hear from her. She gets you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported 22nd Street near Kolb on 22nd Street near Kolb Road. Drexel near Craycroft. Traffic on Drexel west of Craycroft is closed due to a crash. 84 the overnight low, tomorrow 105 with a chance of rain and 102 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need at the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they're guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. If you're driving right now, you may not be thinking about your tires, but chances are they've been tested before. Like that time you swerved to avoid the stray shopping cart that rolled into the street from nowhere? Or when you had a green light but did some extreme braking because another driver decided to turn left in front of you. And we've all had to navigate monsoon downpours that turned our streets into Arizona's largest slip and slide. At Jack Furrier's, we've helped Arizona drivers navigate these extreme moments for over 60 years with the right tires, the best steel, and a huge in-stock selection of the brands you trust. And now's the time to save big with the most rebates we've seen all year on the brands you love, like Michelin, Cooper, and Uniroyal tires, with up to $100 back all month long. And Jack Furrier cardholders get back another $30. Check out jackfurriers.com for details on all our sizzling summer savings. So for all those critical moments where your tires make the difference, check out Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
This summer, click into easier yard cleanup with same-day delivery from the Home Depot. Click into clearing overgrown grass or weeds with effortless gas-like power. And click into the convenience of a battery platform compatible with over 250 tools with the Milwaukee M18 Fuel Trimmer, now for just $199. Click into power with 4th of July savings now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. And 76, visit staples.com/print for details.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice, attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina 29464.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Ball loose, taken down by Bradley. Cats on the run with numbers. Bounce ahead to Johnson, and a slam dunk for Keshad Johnson. Now to get the crowd going. Jones fires a three, no good. Rebound, tip, grabbed by Love. Wildcats with a 3-on-1 now. Love will lob it for Johnson, and Keshad will throw it down for two. Timeout Long Beach State. Throw it out top, Keshad wide open. He'll take the three, and it's good. Well, Keshad Johnson hit 4 threes on Saturday against the Trojans. Gets his first Lexus of Tucson Charity 3 here today.
All right, that is Keshad Johnson highlights. Spent obviously this past season here with the Arizona Wildcats after a very nice 3-year career, or actually 4-year career, I should say, with the San Diego State Aztecs, helping to lead the Aztecs to their first national championship game, unfortunately, where they fell at the hands of the UConn Huskies, who are now back-to-back champions after they won it again this past year. But what an addition Keshad Johnson was to Tommy Lloyd's lineup. He started all 32 games, played 28 minutes this past season, averaging 12 points and 6 rebounds, and shot 39% from three-point land. And that might have been the thing that really kind of stood out to a lot of people after he made that transition here to the U of A, was his ability to step out and be a consistent three-point shooter. And I believe that was something, again, when you look at these guys that are transferring from school to school late in their careers, trying to take advantage of that extra year. And one of the reasons is they want to try to show something maybe that they didn't get a chance to show at their previous school. And outside shooting was certainly something that Keshad Johnson did not do much of. I think with the final total was he made 36 threes here. He I think made 32 and something in for all 4 years
28.
that he played. 28. He had played all 4 years at San Diego State.
Yeah, 28 made in 4 years at San Diego State and 36 last year.
Right.
He shot 93 last year and 207 attempts in his career.
Yeah.
So almost half his three-point attempts in college came at Arizona in only the 1 out of 5 years here.
So that'll be obviously one thing that was one thing he was able to show to teams this past season, and I'm sure that was one of the things that attracted them potentially to him as a guy that could come in and help. Let's hear from Keshad Johnson. Earlier this year, he was at the draft combine on what he believes his day one NBA contributions could be.
True position, whatever it takes to win. Honestly, I don't put one position to myself. Of course, I'm a forward, wing, but whatever it takes to win, I'm gonna try to do it. You know?
Do you feel more comfortable playing the 4 or the 3?
Both is interchangeable in today's game of basketball. So I could make the perimeter shots, and I could guard 1 through 5. So wherever you want to put me at to win a game, I'm gonna try to do it.
What's your most underrated or overlooked skill, if you had to say one that people need to take notice?
Overrated, underlooked skill. Making winning plays. You know, it takes a skill to make winning plays. You know, to have the heart to maybe dive on the floor or get a deflection, the extra offensive rebound, make a read before it happened. You know, so I would say that's a skill of mine. Just trying to do whatever it takes to win.
And for you, what's something that you feel like is your strongest skill that you will be able to contribute day one with?
Day one is guarding perimeter, guarding to the bigs, 1 through 5. You know, wherever you want to put me out on the defensive end, I feel like I'll be stable there and comfortable guarding anybody.
That is Keshad Johnson. Very interesting. I was reading an article about Keshad, kind of like a scouting report, and he was described as, I guess there's a new term called a strength four. We've heard of a stretch floor.
Right.
A strength floor, which is kind of a player who can play defense, who's very strong defensively, can guard on the ball, can be smart defending off the ball, and also has the ability to shoot, catch and shoot, but knows that he's going to be a role player at the next level.
Well, yeah, the NBA has always been about specialists. If you're not an all-NBA or all-league guy, then you have to be really, really great at one thing, maybe two things. Dennis Rodman, for instance, couldn't score for his life, right? But he's the best rebounder of all time, so it didn't really matter. The fact that Keshad took 93 threes last year at Arizona and made him at a 37% clip, like you mentioned, was integral to him being drafted today or tomorrow, DK, because he's came in with that reputation of being a very hard-nosed rebounder, very good on-ball defender, and very good help defender, can come off his man and help challenge shots with his athleticism. But without the ability to knock down open looks, the NBA is a whole bunch of playmakers right now. There are so many playmakers on every team, outside of a few, that you don't need to be a guy to get out there and make all kinds of stuff happen. You know what you need to do? Get your hands ready, catch that ball in your shooting pocket and let it launch. 24 seconds is all they have. There's a really, really fast game. And so as a strong on-ball defender who can switch up on a guard, move his feet enough to stay with some guards, and be able to have the strength to push on guys in the mid-post, I think Keshad Johnson's got the ideal body size and strength. The question would then be, can you stay on the court? If you can't knock down an open shot in today's NBA, DK, there's no role for you there. So that is the main reason why I think a lot of NBA teams are looking at him a lot more as an actual contributing prospect now than they might have done 18 months ago.
And again, I think it's what we saw from Keshad as an outside shooter. I think that was good because, again, it wasn't something that he had done much in the past, but it's going to be something that he's got to continue to work on because even as good as he was, he seems still like it was a work in progress kind of thing in terms of him and outside shooting.
We talked about it a lot last season, especially in the first 10, 15 games. The captain, Kelvin Ifon, always has great points, and he's talked a lot about in that stage that Keshad was passing up open looks early in the season last year, maybe because of his role at San Diego State. He was a big-time offensive rebounder when he was with the Aztecs, so my idea is like if you're one of the better offensive rebounders on your team, your coach is probably not telling you to go out there and shoot 25-footers. You got to be under the basket. Last year, within this offense, with all the size and length that Arizona had last year, it was important that Keshad, within the offense, if you get an open look, you got to let it fly as soon. And so those first maybe 5 or 10 games, he kind of eased into it. But we saw later in the season, anytime Keshad was left open, he would let it fly with confidence. And that's the most important thing. Numbers are going to go up and numbers are going to come down, fluctuate as far as your percentages go. But having having no qualms, TK, about letting that shot go once one of those you're playing with Luka Doncic, he goes through 3 guys and finds you behind his head with you in the corner, and you hesitate on that shot? Are you kidding me? No. You don't get playing time if you hesitate. You got to let it fly.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 520-848-1290. Where do you think Keshad Johnson will land? Won't be tonight, likely, unless, there's some shocker that we don't know about. He's expected to potentially be a second-round pick, and the second round of the draft won't be till tomorrow. But, hey,
all it
stranger
takes
things have
is
happened.
one. Right? All it literally takes is one GM, one war room, one of these groups that's really high on a player, and they can reach. We've seen it time and time again. So
we definitely have seen that. We were talking a little bit about, potentially what could be on board for the Suns in tonight's draft. And our question of the day, again, head on over right now to our Twitter page at Wildcats1290. Do you believe the Suns are going to trade that pick at 22 tonight? Right now, 100% of the people are saying yes. They believe that Matt Ishbia, James Jones, and company are going to trade that pick tonight. And it's interesting. We're kind of talking about the rumors surrounding a potential deal. Kevin Durant, maybe. Houston picked up some additional collateral last night in I believe it was a deal with the New Jersey Nets. And it basically goes back to what Ishbia was saying at the end of the year. The Rockets, who are a team that was pretty bad last year, realized that probably the best way for them to get back into this Western Conference mix is getting a frontline player on their roster, and the only way that they can do that is with picks. So it makes sense that picks are collateral. And that's at least the way the Houston Rockets seem to be looking at it, with compiling more to at least put themselves in a position where they can make that call to the Suns and say, hey, here's what we got, and here's what we're willing to offer, because you can't even make that call if you don't have the ability to
think of it like
to put it together.
The whole risk-reward thing in professional athletics, where if you are really high on a superstar and you bring them in, the chemistry doesn't always work out. In the NBA, because, I don't know where it started. I don't think it was on a banana boat, but wherever the whole bring a bunch of superstar players together to be on the same team. Maybe it was the late 90s Bulls. The idea behind that, look at what happened to the Nets. You bring 3 all-NBA level players together. They play 16 games, and it completely wipes out 4 years of your franchise. So I think the idea more now is you wait until the last minute, but look what they just got for Mikal Bridges, DK, who is great. I love Mikal Bridges, Iron Man, great two-way player, but he's not one of the top 15 players. He's maybe the 25th best player in the NBA. I'm not trying to put I don't have an actual list in front of me, but to get 5 first-round picks for that guy, that's what shows you how valuable those first rounds. So stockpiling, Oklahoma City, Houston, all these teams stockpiling picks. What they're waiting for is that day when they have a core that's ready to go. And almost like baseball is with buyers and sellers, if you have enough picks in your arsenal that you can swap that for a frontline starter or 6th or 7th man to make a push for that year or the next. I think that's the big philosophy in the NBA these days, because some of these teams have, like the Spurs, for instance, have 4 picks today. They got the number 4, number 8. They got 2 picks in the second round. There's a lot of teams right now that are stockpiling picks, and it's one of 2 things. The Spurs are a terrible, terrible, terrible team. They're 20 wins, something like that last year. They've got a lot of young guys trying to get better. So it makes sense for them to draft at number 4 and number 8. But some of these other teams, like you mentioned the Rockets, well, I mean, they actually have some talent on that team. They're just, 23, 24, 25, and they're still trying to figure the game out. So are they going to use those picks to get a veteran to come in and help that group? That would be more likely scenario.
So what we don't know, though, in terms, I think, of Matt Ishbia and his mindset as an owner, we know that picks are collateral. But if Houston or whoever it might be, maybe it's another team, but obviously Houston has the ability now to do it. And J-Dub, put yourself in James Jones and Matt Ishbia's position. If they offer you 2 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks, do you make that deal? And then you've got that collateral back to re-spin off to get what you want, or feel like maybe you need to put around a whoever's left, whether it's Booker and Beal or Durant and Beal?
I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that the stipulations behind a lot of those picks are very deep and convoluted. So, you can't trade a first-round pick to one team and have them traded to another team and have them traded to another team and have them traded to another team all within, a 6-month period. It doesn't really work like that. I think that there's a length of time, for instance, that some of these work, and there's obviously some of them are contingent picks where it's based on how the team that traded that pick to you, where they finished that particular season and all of those things. But, again, it's one of two things. Ishbia clearly has a roster he likes. He wants to win. He wants to win now. This is not a blow-up moment. 6 months, right? It's how long, they really didn't have even a full season because Beal didn't play for the first however many months, 2 months, month and a half. The number of games and minutes that those core players played together last year is not enough to develop enough chemistry to make a deep run. So they got to first figure out if that works before they blow anything up. But it's one or the other. It's either you have these superstars that other teams want now. I want to see Booker retire as a Sun. I think Devin Booker's a great Phoenix Sun. Kevin Durant's a bit of a journeyman.
A franchise player for sure.
Yeah, Kevin Durant's going all over the place. He's already played for, 5 teams so far in his career? But right now, as far as the Suns, you got to hold. You got to hold your cards. You got to play what you've got right now because it's catastrophic. If you just gave up, you mortgaged your future to get Kevin Durant here, and you're going to give up on that within a short period of time, rebuild mode and whatnot. It's either have enough talent to contend or don't, but you can't be in the middle. There's no middle ground there. And outside of going to Oklahoma City, who's the team that really has the most first-round picks in the future, and getting an outrageous, 7 or 8 picks back or something like that, I think you have to stay with the plan that they have now. You got a new coach, right?
You've got to know when to hold them.
New coach, new style. Let's see what the team looks like.
Know when to walk away. Know when to run. You better count your money. While you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. All right, NBA draft night here in the United States. Who will your team take tonight? Who do you want to see your team take tonight? We'll discuss all of that. Your chance to get in, 520-848-1290. We'll hear from Pelle Larsson coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll talk some hockey. What's next for Arizona now that Alex Marullo appears to be done with trying to bring a team here to the desert, an NHL team? We'll talk to Alex Cipollini from Burns City Sports up in Phoenix about that. DK on the Sports Tip. JW Madness here. Cricket as well. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With a crash reported Oracle near Ina. Reported as a multi-vehicle collision, Oracle near Ina. Other crashes, 22nd Street near Kolb in Drexel west of Craycroft. Traffic on Drexel west of Craycroft is closed due to that collision. 84 the low, tomorrow 105 with a small chance of showers and 102 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with My Lowe's Rewards, your savings just keep coming with member-only offers. Learn more about their new loyalty program at lowes.com/MyLowe's Rewards. Subject to terms and conditions. See lowes.com/terms for details.
Ah, the feeling you get when gas prices go up again. Now you can lose that feeling forever because O'Reilly Chevrolet lets you say goodbye to gas stations and hello to savings with their state-of-the-art Blazer EVs. If you're looking for a vehicle with zero emissions and a dealership with zero hassle, look no further than O'Reilly.com. Call 747-8000 or test drive one today on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Charge into the future at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Rumble is on a mission to give people the freedom to be entertained. Join Rumble and enjoy exclusive content from creators who are empowered to express themselves freely. Visit rumble.com or download the app and watch for free.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina 29464.
I'm Kathleen Wynne, Republican for Congress against Juan Ciscomani. I was honored to meet with President Trump and support his re-election this month when he came to Arizona. And Juan Ciscomani boycotted the rally. But is anyone shocked? Juan Ciscomani is a never-Trumper rhino who endorsed Chris Christie for president. And when Christie dropped out, endorsed Nikki Haley. I'm Kathleen Wynne, and I'm running against Juan Ciscomani. Southern Arizona needs a bold and strong conservative voice to defend our borders, fight wokeness, stop the spending, stop the debt, protect small business, and always put taxpayers first. It's time to stop and reverse the Biden agenda, not vote for it, enable it, and fund it as Ciscomani does repeatedly. Because Juan Ciscomani is too weak and too timid to fight for us. I'm Kathleen Wynne, Republican for Congress, and I approve this message because Congress needs a conservative change. Paid for by Wynne for Arizona.
Sponsored by Big Machine Records and Petty Country, a country celebration of Tom Petty. Last year, the NBA draft was centered entirely around Victor Wembanyama. Now the reigning Rookie of the Year needs help, and the San Antonio Spurs have 2 picks in the top 10 of the draft at 4 and 8. And if I had one wish for the 2024 draft, it's that UConn's big man Donovan Clingan ends up in San Antonio. Imagine how fun it would be watching those 2 big athletic freaks play on the same squad. I'm Zach Gelb.
Petty Country, a country music celebration of Tom Petty, bringing the top talent in country and Americana music together to create a 20-song tribute to Petty's dynamic musical legacy, including Chris Stapleton, Luke Combs, Thomas Rhett, Dierks Bentley, George Strait, Carly Pearce, Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, Lainey Wilson, Winona, and more.
With a southern accent.
Petty Country, out now, sponsored by Big Machine Records.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool's been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
those stomach issues ruined your birthday.
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa.
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
It is NBA Draft Night in America. We are 1 hour away from the picks starting to flow and your favorite team getting that player who could make the difference to getting you and your squad to the NBA playoffs, potentially then on the road to winning a ring, much like the Boston Celtics just did. Who will be that team? Who will be that team that wins the draft over the next 2 nights and puts themselves in a better position than they were before it began? The Atlanta Hawks have the number 1 pick tonight. We'll see where they decide to go. The Suns are at number 22. The Cavs actually do, my team, they actually do have a first-round pick this year. I don't think they had one last year. They are at number 20, so they will pick 2 selections in front of the Phoenix Suns tonight. So looking forward to that. 2 Arizona Wildcats on the board in this draft. Keshad Johnson, we heard from him in the last segment. Also on the draft board is one Pelle Larsson. Let's hear some Pelle Larsson highlights here at the University of Arizona.
Keshad Johnson, the Arizona rebound. Outlet Boswell again. Cats looking to beat the zone down. The zone, Larsson, open 3 is good for Pelle Larsson. Steps right, shoots a 3, no good. Long rebound out to Larsson. Lean in, shot by Pelle, and it rolls in. Wow. What a shot, and followed by Pelle Larsson. 75-71 Arizona. Out top for Larsson. Deep 3, straight away is good. Pelle Larsson with Alexis of Tucson, charity 3. Timeout USC.
Pelle Larsson came over to the Arizona Wildcats after spending his freshman year playing for the Utah Utes. So again, both of the young men who are in this draft process this year are gentlemen that transferred into the program here at the University of Arizona. Pelle Larsson played in that off-guard, small forward wing position for a lot of the time that he was here. A guy that could knock down some shots, but a guy that we could also see who could get to the bucket when he wanted to get to the bucket. And crowd favorite, always willing to try to energize out there on the floor when he played here for the Arizona Wildcats. He, too, spoke. He was like Keshad Johnson, went to the draft combine back in April and talked about what he believes he can add to the National Basketball Association.
You kind of went through the process a little bit last year. What feedback did you get to apply to your season in Arizona this past year?
Just to be way more aggressive in my play, take the opportunities when they show up, and I think anyone that's watched me play throughout the years is like I've gotten better every year. So I think that feedback, which is part of me getting better and having stuff to work on.
What kind of player do you envision being at the next level for fans? What can they expect to see from you in the NBA?
I mean, they can expect me to play my hardest, of course. I've always been like an effort player, and then obviously I got a really good shot, so I can spread the floor, and then I just help any team I end up on with my IQ and that.
So you started playing professionally before Arizona, right? In Sweden.
Well, I was finishing my last year in high school, and they just brought me up to the men's league in Sweden. So I played there for a year, and then went to Utah, and then ended up at Arizona for 3.
How did playing pro that early, does that give you a little bit of an advantage, or just kind of a little bit of a taste of the professional environment at such a young age?
Yeah, I think more than anything, just hanging around guys that are like really doing it as their like job, you know, which was different for me at the time. And just to see, like, I had a really good team with mature guys that were really professional, so I feel like I know how to act in those type of environments and how to work with others.
I think there's only been something like 3 or 4 Swedish-born NBA players. Could be 2 this year with yourself and Bobby Clinton. What is to have 2 at the same time and to be such a small number overall? What would that mean for you personally?
I mean, personally, it's just a lot of fun for me, my family, and Bobby and his as well. And then for Swedish basketball, I think it's a great sign that, you know, more and more talents are coming out of Sweden, and it also brings more enthusiasm and light on the sport in Sweden. It's not the biggest sport in Sweden. So I think just to bring attention to it gives a lot of young kids hope and hopefully some people to look up to.
Pelle Larsson, the scouting report on him has potential to fulfill the role of a secondary ball handler at the NBA level, a catch-and-shoot guy who can also guard the three-point line, potentially. And I think he's not going to be a guy, J-Dub, who, and we never really saw that here at this level. He's not going to be necessarily a guy who's going to create a lot of his own shots, but if given the lane, he's got the speed to take it to the basket. I just think he's going to have to be, and I think it really goes with him and Keshad. They're both going to have to be more aggressive shooters at the next level.
I mean, I've always thought that Pelle Larsson's a better pro prospect than college. I think his game is pretty perfect for the NBA, and he has a perfect comp. If you just look at the Denver Nuggets draft 2 years ago, Christian Braun, which really, not only does Pelle play a lot like him, but he looks a lot like him. I think Pelle Larsson will be, it's great that Pelle Larsson's not going to be in the top 10 of the draft tonight, because ideally he'll go to a team that's already in a contending type of team, one of the 16 best teams in the league, and filling in as that 8th man, 9th man right now off the bench. Pelle could be plugged in right now as we've always seen the aggressiveness and the physicality that he plays with, especially on the defensive end, is needed in today's NBA with so many creators. I don't think he'll ever need to be a person who can create a lot of offense. I think he just needs to be able to make reads within the offense and obviously be aggressive with those catch and shoots, because he may be, he's definitely one of the best shooters in the draft. I mean, he's definitely a knockdown outside shooter. You saw quite a bit of Pelle deferring. We talked about deferring with Keshad in his first couple of 5-10 games here in Arizona at the U of A. I think Pelle Larsson maybe turned down some shots because he's just such a team-first guy. However, in the NBA, because of how fast-paced and how quick it is, finding those spots within the defense, finding the holes in the softness of the defense, and setting up and being able to knock down shots, I think Pelle Larsson already today can step in and do that role. So I'm really excited to see where he lands.
Interesting, talking about Keshad again, interesting some comparisons here to maybe the kind of player he could be at the next level. P.J. Tucker.
Yeah.
Jay Crowder on that list. Dorian Finney-Smith.
He's a little more athletic, I think, obviously, than Crowder. It all depends, DK, on the next level jump he takes on his shooting, because I think Keshad clearly is a great athlete. I mean, he's got his measurables are right there at NBA level as far as length and his size and clearly leaping ability. When it comes to, again, not too dissimilar from Pelle, both those guys are going to be defense first right out of the gate. Both those guys are going to be asked by their franchises to be able to lock guys down, as opposed to getting out there and creating some kind of microwave instant offense. That's not their style. But if Keshad can continue every year to improve his stroke and his confidence in his outside shot. I think Keshad Johnson could very easily be that typical 3-and-D type of guy because of his stature and just the way that he plays the game. And again, just like Pelle, I've never heard or seen Keshad make a play on the court or talk about anything outside of the team concept. He's really a team-first guy. And in the NBA, with so much talent, there's more talent in the NBA than there ever has been. You don't need to come in there and step on toes and talking about, unless you're Isaiah Collier, you're not going to be coming into some locker room, talking about what you can do. Just adapting to that team philosophy, mixing it with the guys, and then being a part of that, being a cog in that machine. I think Keshad and Pelle are both well put together to be able to do that successfully.
Some other names that potentially we might see in the first or second round coming up this tonight or tomorrow that we are familiar with. KJ Simpson out of Colorado is listed as ranked is the number 35 overall prospect. Adem Bona from UCLA, number 43. PJ Hall from Clemson, who we saw in the final game of the season, is ranked 45. Bronny James, we mentioned earlier, is ranked 55. So Bronny is ranked between Keshad Johnson and Pelle Larsson. Isaac Jones, the forward out of Washington State, is ranked 57 coming in. Nafale Dante is ranked 62. I thought that was a little low for Nafale Dante to be ranked. I would thought he'd have been maybe a little bit higher, but a lot of questions about what his, whether or not he was going to be able to come back and that kind of thing. I don't know, maybe if that might have hurt his ranking.
He's had some injury issues in his career, and I think he's much more of a post player as far as generating offense goes, and that's not really a thing in the NBA anymore, unless you're Joker and you're initiating offense out of the post by your passing ability. So, yeah, I think, again, Zach Edey 15 years ago, 20 years ago, DK, would be a top 5 prospect. I think Nafale Dante falls in that same category. It's just a different era. Right, it's not that he's not a very good basketball player.
Yeah.
It's just that the post game in the NBA, it's much more 4-out, 5-out sets these days.
All right, we're joined by the third member of our program. Cricket is here. Cricket normally has tickets for you to give away. She doesn't have any tickets today, but Cricket, we've had for the last 2 weeks, we have been pubbing this awesome promotion. Chris Jansen, the country star, and a $10,000 shopping spree,
really cool,
to Bass Pro, and I said at the beginning, it was a national promotion, so people all over the country were having a chance to win this,
trying to get in.
Yeah, so we have a winner. Let's hear it from our winner.
Oh my God, you're kidding! Oh my God, no way! Oh my God, that is crazy. I have no earthly idea. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Oh my God, I'm about to cry. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of shopping. Oh Lord, you just made my morning. Thank you so much. Oh gosh. My name is Sharon Smith. I just won a $10,000 shopping spree from Chris Jansen and Bass Pro.
Was there any question that somebody from the South was going to win that?
I was going to say,
she was really excited. She's like the perfect winner.
So, Cricket, she's from Wilmington, North Carolina, which is about as Bass Pro. I was going to say it had to be
one of my old hometowns. I used to live in Wilmington back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, so Sharon, congratulations to Sharon Smith. She is the $10,000 winner of the Bass Pro shopping spree. I hope she goes out and buys a nice boat that she can put out there on the bay at Wrightsville Beach, one of my old stomping grounds back in the mid-'90s. We used to go. They used to have this really cool dockside restaurant. So there was, obviously, Wilmington is a coastal town. Then you go over the bridge to the beach part, which is Wrightsville Beach. But then there's like a bay that comes in behind the inlet. And so they had this restaurant, man. And on Sundays, like I was working in minor league baseball at the time. So after games, we played day game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the game, everybody would go down to this dockside bar. And
nice.
That was like the place to be during the
hangout.
summertime. It was the hangout. All the girls were down there. I mean, it was some people would pull up there, but like the rich people would pull up boats and stuff. So you would try to maybe mingle with somebody that had a boat, so you could maybe get on one of the boats and actually do some partying.
Find your boat people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of boat people that we like, for sure.
Yeah, we've already established that. Boat friends are good friends
Boat
to have.
friends are definitely good friends to have. Do you have any boat friends?
No.
No?
No.
Have you ever been on a boat? You've been on a boat? What kind of boat? When's the
And
last
the
time you were on a
boat broke down in Apache Lake.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Now, where's that at?
I think it's a little closer than Roosevelt Lake.
Okay. So but it's in Arizona.
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. You fished that day? Or?
No, because the boat broke down and we were stuck.
I think you may have told this story once before.
It was pitiful.
Not fun, huh?
Yeah, no, that was not a fun boat.
Oh,
it's not a good
have
boat.
Have you ever water skied?
No, I've never done that. No.
Okay, so what do you do on your boat when you go? You just kind of lay out, or?
I don't know. The boat broke down.
Oh, that's the only time you've been on a boat? Is that
well,
one
I mean,
time?
I have when I was younger. Yeah, I would
Okay.
fish with like my uncle, or the plan was to do fishing, and they had like not jet skis, but like a raft that they would tow behind, or whatever it's called. Yeah, we had plans, but that didn't happen. But
we had plans.
There were plans, but that wasn't going to happen.
The plans drowned.
Yes, they did.
Good thing you did not.
Yes, thank you.
There you go. All right, Cricket getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Collision I-19 north of Pima Mine Road reported off in the median, but some slowing both directions on I-19. North of Pima Mine Road, 10th Avenue north of 44th Street, overturned vehicle and then a vehicle fire. Valencia west of Campbell, clearing some eastbound slowing. Oracle and Ina, also Drexel west of Craycroft, earlier serious collision. That area blocked off on Drexel west of Craycroft. 84 the overnight low, tomorrow 105 with a chance of rain, about 102 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchase. Offer N76. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
Time for the hot weather polar bear promise. Alaskan AC arrives in 1 day or your repair is free.
Wait, say that again?
We arrive in 1 day or your repair is free?
Again, but longer on the A.
We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. Hear it?
No.
Alaskan AC, service guarantee. We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. By George, he's got it. With the Alaskan AC service guarantee, we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Are we really doing this?
That's awesome, Gary. With Alaskan AC service guarantee,
we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
We should probably
sing with us, William.
I would really rather.
Come on.
I don't want to.
Chicken bok bok.
Guys, no.
It's catchy.
Do it.
Sing out, Louise.
Fine.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Whoa.
Whoa is right.
Can we get back to work now?
Schedule anytime at alaskanac.com.
Incredible.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina 29464.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
Progressive protects more than just your home and car. You could save when you bundle your motorcycles, ATVs, boats, and RVs. Doesn't that sound good? Like the sound of the wind in the trees as your RV sits parked in the forest. Is that the call of the majestic owl? And there's the sound of the tree branch crashing into the roof of your RV. Oof, I guess their nest was in that branch. But you know what does sound good? You're covered with Progressive. So bundle all your vehicles and home in one place and save with the multi-policy discount. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 85% water, right?
85% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients. Don't pay for water, pay for clean.
Save $10 when you spend $30 on Tide and Downy. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent. Must buy at least one participating Tide or Dreft detergent item, plus at least one participating Downy and or Bounce scent booster, liquid fabric softener, or dryer sheets. Prepaid card by mail. Visit pglaundryrebate.com for terms and conditions.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. We talked a lot of hockey yesterday because there was a lot of news with the crowning of the NHL champion, Florida Panthers, the crowning of the AHL champion, Hershey Bears, and the news that the Roadrunners are playing all 36 of their games here in Tucson and not just 30, and that Alex Marullo appears to be done trying to bring hockey back to Arizona, at least on the National League level. So let's talk some more about that. Pleased to be joined by Alex Cipollini from Burn City Sports. He covers the Coyotes up in the Valley. So, Alec, now what? That it appears that Alex Marullo has fired his last shot in trying to revive the NHL here in the desert.
But it's pretty much up in the air what's going on. I can tell you that we're going to be seeing probably no more news about this. He's walking away from the team. He's pretty much saying adios to everybody in Arizona. But, it's the end of an era. The Coyotes have been here for so long, since 1996, relocating here from Winnipeg. And now it's pretty much disappearing in the thick of it. And yeah, it's sad for Coyotes fans, sad for the Valley in general, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a chance expansion in the future with new owners, but who knows with the sour taste in the mouths of hockey fans here in the Valley.
Alec, I had said a few months ago, when the trade was announced, that there was something when I watched the press conference that he gave that day with Gary Bettman and with the National Hockey League, and I came away just saying, I don't think this is the guy. If this is the guy that we're depending on to bring hockey back here to the desert, I think we got the wrong dude. So in some form, maybe is this a blessing that it's not going to be him, and then obviously now we'll have to find out if somebody else steps to the forefront to take up the mantle for trying to revive this situation?
I mean, you could look at it two ways. One, Alex Marullo was probably the easiest path to get the team back. He had that 5-year window after selling the team from the NHL. So if he built the arena within that time span, the Coyotes could have been back quicker. Now that he's walking away, it's up in the air even if they're going to be able to get an expansion team in the near future, because you have Atlanta and Houston and all these other cities that are having all these projects. And with all of what people have said about, oh, it's so great that the Coyotes don't have Morello anymore. It's, they're in an abyss now where there's more questions than answers of what is next. So,
talking with Alex Cipollini from Burn City Sports. The Coyotes obviously are now in Salt Lake City. The one thing that we were talking about yesterday down here as it relates to our situation with the Tucson Roadrunners is that it would make sense potentially for the Smith family up in Salt Lake to try to keep some connection with Arizona, because you have such a large fan base of folks in the state who follow the majority of the players and who have fallen in love with a lot of those players on the team. Your Josh Dones and those types of players who obviously Josh with a connection to Arizona. Do you think, though, that they give one care about the state of Arizona and how we feel about this?
I mean, technically a little bit, because you have to consider Tucson still linked with Utah. But overall, I don't really see any way of them. I mean, the players obviously will have resentment with the Coyotes in Arizona because they played here for so long. But as for the organization itself with Ryan Smith, Ashley Smith, the whole ownership there, I don't really think they have as much care as they could. Just Tucson still being the AHL team, it is probably I'd probably say like 5%, but not much.
When you look at, obviously, you're up in the Valley, and one of the other things that we've consistently talked about is how transient Arizona is, the state of Arizona. You have so many people from other places. I mean, I'm originally from Ohio, and I don't, my connections maybe are more so to some of the teams that I grew up with back there. And you find that out here a lot when, I kind of joked. I say, when people ask me about hockey in Arizona, I say, well, you go to the games and half the building is for the other team. And that's kind of the way that it always was. Is there enough, do you think, after, 25 years of the team being here, is there enough of a built-in collective of fans for the Coyotes to create a stir about this, to try to say, hey, the NHL needs to work with trying to find somebody else and stay on this plan to bring it back in 5 years? Are there enough Arizona Coyotes-based fans that would rally behind something like that?
Well, I would say that there are a lot of, the fair weather fans where they are a Coyotes fan, but they have a favorite team of somebody else, and there's all the snowbirds that come to Arizona as well. So there is a good fan base of hockey fans here in the Valley. The only problem is you can only go as far as with the political side, with the arena situation. It's already been so difficult with how they've been trying to, all these different ownerships trying to get these arenas locations, and it is something that I don't really have an answer to on that right now. But I would definitely say that the more and more people speak out and vouch for hockey back here in the desert for the NHL, it is something that could happen. But with, like I said before, with all these other cities having an arena plan and this and that and the other, it's going to be kind of difficult that Arizona is going to be that next expansion team, given that they're just going to be like all the other expansion hopeful cities.
We're pleased to be joined by Alex Cipollini, I should say, from, say that 5 times fast, from Burn City Sports. Alec, your best thought long term is, will we get hockey back or no?
I grew up being a Coyote fan since I was 7, but obviously being a journalist, you have to distance yourself from being a fan and not being biased. But if I were to say right now, I'd probably say no, but I will always keep that glimpse of hope that it could happen. It's just there's so many different hurdles that future ownership groups have to get through with land and building relationships with the political side and, building that trust between the hockey fans that are so hurt right now by the Coyotes leaving to having a team again. I don't know. It's a tough question to answer, especially right now in the wake of all of what is happening. But for right now, no, but maybe in 10, 15 years, it might be a possibility. It just depends on even if the NHL wants expansion. The NHL is at 32 teams, which is the perfect size right now. They don't really want to entertain the new teams coming in the league right now. And it's just something that it might not be a great thing to hear for the fans listening right now. But to me, it's not something that is hopeful, but it could happen.
Yeah, I would be shocked if the National Hockey League would be the first major sports entity here in the United States to go past 32 teams. That would be absolutely flooring if that happened. I could maybe see it in the National Football League. I could maybe see it in Major League Baseball. But if you had told me the NHL would be the entity to do that, I would say absolutely no way. I don't think that happens. Alec, what were your thoughts on the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Florida Panthers emerging as the champions?
Well, I thought Florida was probably I'd probably say top three most well-constructed teams in the league, and I'm not shocked. They were in the Stanley Cup final last season, and they put up a good fight against Vegas. Obviously, Vegas did what they did with the salary cap to get their cup last year, but Florida did a really good job there. Offensive pressure against Edmonton. I felt like Edmonton had the momentum from game 3 to game 6. Game 4 to game 6. Florida had it early, and then Edmonton pushed on the gas in 4 through 6, and then game 7, Florida went back to what the style of hockey they were playing in games 1 through 3. And, you got to be happy as a hockey fan here in the Valley. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, former Coyotes captain here, he won the Stanley Cup. It was really, you saw all the people on social media really happy to see that somebody here in the Valley that meant so much to the hockey community won a Stanley Cup. So it was overall one of the better series in Stanley Cup history that I can remember, to be honest.
Does Utah make the playoffs next year?
Ooh, you're putting me on the spot with that one.
I said, well, after the season ended, I said the worst thing about this whole thing is it looks like they finally got a club that's ready to compete next season.
Yeah, I mean they have the youthful talent to make some noise. Like last season, I did a projection of what they would, and I thought there was a slight chance that they could have made a wild card spot last season. It just depends on who they sign in the off season, who they draft. If they go in with the same exact team like right now, maybe they could increase a little bit, but not right now. It just depends on who they add going forward.
All right, tell the folks how they can follow Burn City Sports.
All right, so Burn City Sports is all Arizona sports from the Diamondbacks, Cardinals, and Suns, and beyond. We cover all the sports you're looking for, and you can go to burncitysports.com to find out all of our coverage on all the sports here in the Valley.
And you can follow Alec at Alec, ALEC, Cipollone, CIPOLLINE, on Twitter. Alec, hey, we appreciate you taking some time to join us and giving us that Coyotes perspective from the Valley.
All right, thank you for having me.
Alec Cipollone from Burn City Sports, at Burn City Sports on Twitter. Getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather is none other than Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported First and Limberlost and First Avenue, Grant and Tankerverde and Grant Road, I-19 north of Pima Mine Road with some southbound slowing. 10th Avenue north of 44th Street was a rollover wreck, and Drexel west of Craycroft closed due to a collision. 84 the overnight low. Tomorrow 105 with a chance of rain and about 102 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by KFC. The new taste of KFC deals are meals starting at just $4.99. Grab a hot, juicy drum and thigh, a buttery biscuit, and creamy mashed potatoes with gravy. Only at KFC. It's finger licking good. Prices and participation vary. Tax, tip, and fees extra.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give My Lowe's Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not a My Lowe's Rewards member? Join for free today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can check if you're paying too much for home insurance, because giving you options is the right thing to do.
Oh, you mean like when I let someone with less groceries go ahead in line? Sure, there's a part of me that thinks, if you only need 3 things, maybe go to a convenience store next time. And now they're sifting through coupons and my frozen foods are about to be not frozen.
But still, it's the right thing to do. So compare rates with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Desperate buyers have created tremendous opportunity for sellers. If you've had the slightest thought of selling your home, it's time to call Sean Poston with the Poston Results Team at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Why choose the Poston Results Team? Past performance, more money in your pocket, over a 65% referral rate, an incredible Poston Results Team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Poston Results Team. When buying and selling really mattered, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give My Lowe's Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not a My Lowe's Rewards member? Join for free today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can check if you're paying too much for home insurance, because giving you options is the right thing to do.
Oh, you mean like when I let someone with less groceries go ahead in line? Sure, there's a part of me that thinks, if you only need 3 things, maybe go to a convenience store next time. And now they're sifting through coupons and my frozen foods are about to be not frozen.
But still, it's the right thing to do. So compare rates with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's kickoff time, and Believe podcasts are here to get you ready for the season.
This team, they looked to figure it out, and they said, okay, we got a shot at this thing.
With Believe, you get immediate reactions, game previews, and expert analysis from all 32 teams, plus all of your favorite college teams.
This is a true junior that we're talking about.
Sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone.
The running was good. His size is unbelievable.
Just search Believe. That's BLEAV podcast, wherever you listen.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. In fact, why don't you text app to 520-848-1290. I'll send you a code. You can download our app. Our app slaps, and it's got everything you need to know about the Arizona Wildcats, the Phoenix Suns, your Arizona Diamondbacks, who won last night. In fact, let's talk a little bit about the Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks download.
Baseball stuff! Baseball stuff!
D-backs back home after their road trip to open up a series against the Minnesota Twins. The Twins coming in 7 games up on, at the time they were 8 games up on 500 at 43 and 35. This game got off to a really good start for the Snakes in the very first inning with a man on. Ketel Marte would step to the plate.
Marte smokes one down the line. And it's gone. Well, that's the way to get it started. His 16th, and it's 2-0.
2-run shot for Ketel Marte. It would be a 4-1 game for the Snakes in the 7th inning. Brandon Pfaadt was cruising at that point, but he got into a little bit of trouble. He was only at 80 pitches, so Torey Lovullo left him in with 2 on to face Ryan Jeffers, who was looking at the first pitch from Mr. Pfaadt.
And he gets this one deep to left field. Lourdes to the wall, and it's gone. And so is the lead. We're all tied at 4.
A 3-run home run by Ryan Jeffers would tie the game. That would be the end of the night for Brandon Pfaadt. 6 1/3, 4 innings, or 4 earned runs on 5 hits. He did give up the 2 home runs. In would come the Arizona Wildcat, Kevin Ginkel, to get the D-backs out of the 7th inning.
2 outs. Now the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Buried a slider. And Castro with it. Throw down to first in time. And that does it for the Twins here in the 7th.
Yeah, Kevin Ginkel needed just 5 pitches to get out of that inning, getting 2 outs. He would be still the pitcher of record as the Diamondbacks would take the lead in their half of the 7th. And once again, it was Ketel Marte against Jorge Alcala.
If he can't throw that slider for a strike, he's down to 1 pitch, and it's the 1 pitch Marte wants. 1-0. Swinging a high, slow chopper to the right side. Tough play. Throw to first, not in time. Infield hit. Perdomo scores. D-backs lead 5-4.
Ketel Marte driving in another run. Didn't need to hit it very hard. Sometimes you don't need to hit it that hard. He would finish the night with those 3 runs batted in. So Ryan Thompson would come on in the 8th, a clean 8th on 13 pitches. Paul Sewald in the 9th in a little bit of trouble with Jeffers, who had hit the 3-run home run, up again with a chance to put the Twins on top.
Noise here for the D-back faithful. Yeah, good to see, good to hear. Here comes the 2-0. Swing, line drive, left field. Caught by Gurriel. A game-saving catch. And the Diamondbacks hang on for a 5-4 win over Minnesota.
Save number 10 for Paul Sewald. Kevin Ginkel gets the win. He is 6-1. Maybe it was the fact for Kevin Ginkel that before the game, he caught a first pitch thrown by none other than Arizona Athletics Director Desiree Reed-Francois last night up at Chase Field. And Desiree looked pretty good. She didn't get out there and 50 Cent it. I'll say that.
It didn't hop on the way? No?
It did. No, it did not hop up there. She threw a very nice looking pitch that had some movement on it for sure.
I'm not surprised. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised.
No, I mean, Desiree's she's athletic. She comes from, we've heard about her brother, big time football guy.
She is about that life, DK.
She is indeed. She is indeed. So good to see Desiree Reed-Francois up there, and on a night when the Diamondbacks get the win, and it was a happy manager, Torey Lovullo, afterward.
Solid comeback, answer back in the bottom of the 7th inning. Those are tough things to absorb. You don't project 3-run home runs. Day was set up in my opinion, by Brandon. He was in total command. Made a couple of mistakes. The home run that he gave up was just a good hitter. Buxton had a great day, and he just got to work after that and continued to make pitches, continued to get outs, quick outs, and had a low pitch count. So Brandon, I felt like, was throwing the ball extremely well, deserved that opportunity to pitch through those situations with a low pitch count, and just got clipped. And the team responded. The team responded to that with 2 outs. It was a couple really crucial at-bats. It was Jerry to Corbin setting it up for Marte. And what can you say about Marte? He's a beast. Hits a 2-run home run in the bottom of the first inning, has that big infield base hit for that huge RBI. But it was an emotional win, and I'm proud of these guys for fighting back the way they did. Nothing was easy about it. From there was a bullpen, and what can you say? They got some huge outs, some good plays behind them, and we won a big ball game.
Indeed. I mean, again, when you looked at that, if you didn't watch the game, you just kind of looked at the kind of how it went, and you saw that Fott was in there in the 7th, and Torrey left him in there, and the first thing you think is, well, why was he still in there? What was the pitch count? But again, I mentioned the pitch count was low. He was only at 80 pitches. He's a young pitcher, really, in his first full season, Brandon Fott, getting called up for the first time last year, and obviously having some success in the postseason. And at some point, you got to let these young pitchers, you got to give them that chance to get out of those jams when they get on them late in the game. And unfortunately, like he said, this time it didn't necessarily work out. That doesn't take away from a pretty good outing from Brandon Fott, and his offense and his bullpen picked him up after he left, and the Diamondbacks got a big win. They're still sitting under 500, however, at 39-40 on the year, and hopefully they can right that ship and get above 500 on this homestand as they continue to chase the Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 2 of the series tonight, 6:40 will be first pitch. It'll be a Simeon Woods Richardson on the mound for the Twins. He's 2-1 with a 3.26 ERA. Ryan Nelson gets the ball for the D-backs. He is 5-5 on the year, a 5.18 earned run average. The money line tonight is Arizona, the underdog, at plus 104, which means if you lay 20 at the Desert Diamond Casino tonight, you could walk away with 22. Over-under, though, is 9. So if you're playing the under tonight at minus 108, you're gonna need to bet 20 to win just $18.60. So maybe play the over to really see if you can get some money tonight. But, you look at last night's game, and it was not necessarily.
5.18 ERA, giving up 9 home runs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You never know. The over might be the play tonight. Could be the play tonight. Again, 6:40 will be first pitch out at Chase Field on that one. Okay, we've got the NBA draft coming up at the top of the hour. We're going to hopefully be able to give you most of those picks as they happen tonight. The Hawks are on the clock first. The Washington Wizards. These are the teams that are anticipated. I'll give you just the ones that are anticipated to pick in the 5 o'clock hour while we are on the air. We're expected to potentially be able to get through the first 10 picks of the first round. That'll be the Atlanta Hawks, the Washington Wizards, the Houston Rockets in the trade they got last night from Brooklyn at number 3. So we'll see if there's any movement. I think that would be about the time teams will start looking for potentially maybe a trade with the Rockets. They've got assets to see if maybe they're looking to try to bring in a veteran to put with that young club they've got out there. San Antonio at number 4, so Greg Popovich will get another nice player at the top of this draft. Detroit at number 5, changes there with the firing of Monty Williams. Charlotte at 6, Portland will get the 7th pick. Obviously, last year they had to trade away Damian Lillard, and the Trailblazers did not make the postseason with DeAndre Ayton and company, so we'll see what they can potentially add back there. San Antonio again at number 8, so the Spurs have 2 of the first 8 picks tonight at 4 and 8.
Earlier, which team was going to potentially improve their roster the most? There's no question San Antonio with 4 and 8. I mean, this may not be crazy. There may not be a can't-miss generational franchise-changing prospect at 1 or 2, but there is some quality depth there. And so at 4 and 8, I think the Spurs, in their history of drafting, That's always been a franchise that drafts well under Popovich. So, yeah, I think San Antonio's in a really good spot tonight for sure.
Grizzlies at 9, and then the Utah Jazz at 10. Then those are the picks we anticipate will be taken during the remainder of our show. We'll try to get you all of those picks there. The Lakers are on the clock at 17. Just other notables as we go down the line. My Cavs will pick at 20. The Suns are at 22. There will be 30 picks tonight. Wrapping up things at the bottom will be the Utah Jazz and the Boston Celtics.
Now,
so the Celtics do have a pick in the first round.
One thing, DK, we haven't mentioned to listeners today yet. The NBA has decided this year to split the draft NFL style into 2 days.
Yes.
What we did not mention is that tomorrow's second round is at 1 p.m.
Ooh.
They didn't move it to another day so they could get a bunch. It's 4 p.m. Eastern is when the second round starts tomorrow.
Right.
So the second round will be likely well over by the time we start the show. So it's not a live. We're not going to be able to tell people live about Pelle Larsson being drafted. That's going to take place. I was surprised. I was
we get on the air.
Pretty shocked to hear what time slot that they put that in.
Yeah, we'll at least be able to tell folks who drafted him, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So maybe there'll be some reaction once those players, Keshad Johnson and Pelle Larsson, get selected. The Knicks have 2 picks as well at the bottom the first round. They're 24 and 25.
I was just saying, we grab the video of Pelle and Keshad putting hats on, and we'll make sure we have that for the viewers.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. So that is what is happening with the NBA draft. Again, the Suns are 22. They are expected to pick sometime probably after 6:45 this evening. So we'll be off the air, but we will absolutely tell you all about that coming up tomorrow. All right, a couple of programming pieces to get to you before we get out of the top of this hour. Don't forget, we are debuting a new show here on Wildcats Radio 1290 on Monday. The Rich Eisen Show will be debuting here in the noon hour, noon, 1, and 2 o'clock hours. 3 hours of Rich Eisen, the legendary anchor over at the NFL Network, former ESPN anchor, the face of the NFL Network. Can't wait to have Rich Eisen as a part of this team here with following Jim Rome. I mean, that is not a better back-to-back. Are we giving you 3 shows back-to-back better than Jim Rome, Rich Eisen, and us? Where do we fall into that category, J-Dub?
You mean in the hierarchy? Well, it just depends on your style, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I started listening to Rome when it's 92 or 93,
Oh, my
something
gosh.
like that.
I'm old enough to remember the tour stops.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and the Rat Group and all that stuff. I remember the early days when I was in college when it first started
Did you ever
out.
go to a tour stop?
I never.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
went
no.
to one in Cleveland.
Never.
It was interesting.
I bet.
Yeah.
Back in those days.
Right. It was they put, I mean, it was at Cleveland State's facility.
Right.
And they put, I mean, it was pretty well attended for something that lasted for about, I think, maybe 45 minutes.
I like if I had to pick, I mean, I like Jim Rome. I like Rich Eisen's style of fact-based sarcasm,
Right.
and sticking with the facts. Rome gets a little lost on what kind of mud his listeners are throwing at each other, and that could be the whole 3-hour show could just be what somebody said in the first segment, and then all the other listeners reacting to that. I get that. That's the whole show. So if that's the style that you love, that drama, then Rome is it.
Rome went off on Jim Schlossnagle today.
I bet.
He went off. Jim Schlossnagle is indeed now the new head coach of the baseball team at Texas. We'll hear from him coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. He spoke today after being introduced by Chris Del Conte, who his bosses who spoke before him. I mean, this was such a big deal. The president of the university. I mean, how many times does the president of the university introduce a baseball coach press conference?
I had pulled some sound from that, and DK, I think he got introduced by 4 people. I think 4 people introduced each other before he got up there. Yeah.
There's a number of people, but that's how much they care about baseball in Texas. The president of the university made sure he was there for that. We'll hear from Jim Schlossnagle coming up just a little bit later in the 5 o'clock hour. It's DK on the Sports Tip with JW Madden and Cricket. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Eastbound side of I-10 freeway slowing. Eastbound 10 approaching Ina to Sunset. Collisions that are reported, we've got 1st Avenue in Limberlost, Grant Road in Tankaverde, I-19 north of Pima Mine Road with southbound slowing, 10th Avenue north of 44th Street an overturned vehicle, and Drexel to the west of Craycroft is closed due to a crash. Overnight low around 84, tomorrow 105 with a chance of rain, and 101 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchase. Offer N76. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. So you know I've got to shout out NYC this morning. Yo, New York, yo, New York, yo. What up? How we all living? Or maybe should I really be saying, whoa, New York, whoa, New York, whoa. Because, man, did the Knicks ever drop a bomb on the rest of us last night. The New York Knicks are really doing the damn thing. And the damn thing is trying to stack their roster with every dude who has ever suited up for the Villanova Wildcats. And it's not the worst idea ever. In fact, I like it. I like it a lot. 4 unprotected first-round picks and a protected first-round pick and an unprotected pick swap and a second-rounder all going across town to the Nets for Mikal Bridges. Are the Knicks brass trying to channel Les Snead or what? Tell you what, cut to the chase. Yes, it's a haul, but I absolutely love the big swing.
O'Reilly. Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool's been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy?
Totalmente.
Now you can get 50% off any unlimited data phone plan. That's one line for only $25 a month, and you keep the phone you love. Hurry, this is a limited time offer. So find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Offer ends July 31st, 2024. Promo subject to cancellation after 12 months. Available exclusively online and in Total by Verizon stores. Requires a compatible unlocked device and SIM. See totalbyverizon.com for device compatibility and additional details. Taxes and fees may apply.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
You are paying too much for gas because you're paying for gas. Why pay for gas when you can pay for a new Blazer EV at O'Reilly Chevrolet and save $7,500 right off the top? That's just where the savings start. So use your electronic phone and go to O'Reilly.com and see them all in person on Broadway next to Park Place Mall, or call 747-8000. Trade up and trade in and put gas in your rearview mirror. See us today at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Is it hot in here or is it just me?
Honey, I always think you're hot, but it's June, and we all know it's going to get hot in Tucson. It doesn't have to be hot in our house.
Honey, you should call Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. They have the solutions for us.
For all your air conditioning needs, call today, 520-492-0748.
Or visit us at picturerockscooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Choosing the right lawyer after a car wreck is important. You need to consider the law firm's experience, results, and reputation. Lerner Rowe stands above other law firms when it comes to experience and results, helping over 150,000 people recover billions of dollars for their injuries. When it comes to reputation, we have thousands of 5-star reviews, and year after year, we have been voted best personal injury law firm in Arizona. Call us today and let us put our experience, proven results, and reputation to work for you.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what?
Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Mount Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
It is NBA night in America. The draft. Who will be the next stars of the league? We will find out, or at least begin to find out tonight. The first round of the NBA draft about to get going at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Guys will get caps. They'll take pictures. There'll be tears. There'll be hugs. There'll be a lot of things tonight as young men realize their dreams of being drafted into the National Basketball Association. We were talking a little bit early in the show, right at the top of the show, I believe, about how this is kind of considered to be maybe one of the worst top ends of the drafts of this century. And a lot of that is because there's a lot of players, foreign players we've talked about that we really don't know a lot about, and you're coming off a draft in 2023 with a generational foreign talent. Again, but like we failed to mention that. I mean, Victor Wembanyama was a foreign talent, but still someone that was easily recognizable and most people knew last year, whereas some of the names at the top of the draft this year are not necessarily recognizable.
Yeah, he's also just unlike anything anybody had ever seen before.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. I will say this, DK, one factor we didn't talk about is the developmental league and the idea that a lot of players will just jump straight from high school somewhere else. So, and traditionally you would see players who were stars in high school go to become stars in college. They become even bigger names. Draft comes around. Hey, I know that guy. I remember a couple of highlights on YouTube of him dunking in high school. I remember what he did in the Sweet 16 last year. But that's a lot of those top prospects, you know, going back to LaMelo Ball, they're just not even, they're skipping college altogether.
Well, there's two, I think in the two guys, at least in the top 15 that were in the G League Elite.
Yeah, Holmes.
Mattis Buzelis, a small forward who's projected to potentially be a top 5 selection, and Ron Holland.
Yeah, Ron Holland.
Who is small forward.
Yeah, Ron Holland's been a name a lot of people thought could be in the top 5 of the draft years ago. And I think that's a case where maybe going and playing against players isn't the best idea to go and playing against men when you're not quite ready to do that, because it shows some of your weaknesses as well.
David Silver is making his opening statements at the Barclays Center. Again, we're going to try to bring you some of these picks here in this hour, beginning with the Atlanta Hawks, who we will kind of give you the indication once they go on the clock here, and we'll have the first pick of the evening. Again, the projected first pick tonight, and we're talking about this in terms of from our writers at CBS Sports, Kyle Boone and Gary Parrish, is going to be Zachary Richard out of France. He's a small forward. He is expected, both of them at least believe that he is going to be the first-round pick. It's either going to be him or Alex Sarr, so the first-round pick in the draft is going to be from the nation of France this year.
Yeah, Zachary, he's very shifty, very long, got some nice dribble package, a lot of Euros, believe it or not. Very potentially a very good defender. By the way, currently Commissioner Silver is just remembering Jerry West and Mr. Walton.
There you go.
Before the draft starts.
Absolutely. You want to definitely remember those great players. And again, 2 Wildcats have a chance to be drafted, not likely tonight for Keshad Johnson and Pelle Larsson, probably both projected second-round selections. If you were with us in the last hour, you heard J-Dub mention, and we've been kind of talking about all night, that this is a different format. The draft second round will not be tonight. It will be tomorrow. And in fact, as J-Dub mentioned, it'll be early in the day tomorrow versus in the evening. So both Pelle Larsson and Keshad Johnson expected to be second-round picks. Let's hear some more from Keshad Johnson. We had hoped to get the chance to talk to Keshad when he did his workout with the Golden State Warriors. We're anticipating talking to him that day, but some things with logistics and flights, and he was unable to do the press conference after his workout with Golden State. He also did work out for the Indiana Pacers, which would be a very, very close, interesting. Okay, let's get a pick here.
To the Atlanta Hawks, who have 5 minutes to make their selection.
Okay, so this is the Hawks going on the clock here.
They predict about 6:05, well,
Right.
5:05 local time is when the first pick's going to go. And obviously, every team's going to have 5 minutes on the clock. So Commissioner Silver just finished up, and I'll let you know as soon as the pick's ready.
All right, so the clock has not actually started yet, even though they are on the clock. It's still showing 5 minutes, but we'll see if the Hawks take the duration of their 5 minutes to do so. But one of the places, again, that Keshad Johnson went to went to work out for was the Indiana Pacers. And we'll get into that because that could be an interesting place if he were to end up there. He spoke with the media in Indianapolis.
Today, the workout was good. We had a great group of guys from all over. We had a couple bigs in there, wings, forwards, and good guards. So it was very competitive, one of the more competitive ones I've been a part of.
What are you trying to show teams over this process?
Over this process, I'm trying to show teams my competitive spirit, my toughness, most importantly, how I feel well-rounded I am as a player on and off the court.
Where do you think your game developed the most over your time in college?
I feel like my ability to make open shots has developed over my time in college. I proved I was able to space out and hit shots beyond the arc my senior years in college basketball.
The last year at Arizona, making that switch, how did that help prepare you for the NBA?
It helped me really showcase my God-given talent, being able to space out, just my three-point ability, my numbers being able to increase. It just gives NBA teams more faith in me and more belief that I could play at the next level.
And the year before at San Diego State, being a part of that team that made the run to the title game, what was the most memorable part of that experience for you?
The most memorable part, first of all, was just the whole journey, the battles that we had each and every game, just the camaraderie that we had off the court. That was the most memorable. Of course, the big shot by Lamont Butler.
Your game, with the way the NBA is going to become more positionless, do you feel like that allows you to fit in even better now?
Yeah, for sure. Me being able to guard multiple positions, me not really having one position to my name, or offensively or defensively, that allows me to fit right in on the evolution of what basketball is coming to today.
As you sit down with teams during this process, what's your pitch to them? What are they getting if they draft you?
My pitch to them is just I'm going to come in and be the best person, best guy for them on and off the court.
There you go. That was Keshad Johnson talking with the Indiana Pacers. And again, that could be a very interesting place for Keshad to land. We've talked about the number of former Wildcats that are already there. I mean, you think about Benedict Mathurin, who was their first-round pick. It's 2 years ago now that Ben was taken in the first round by the Pacers. And looks like at least we're getting a shot of the War Room in Atlanta, and it looks like they've made the selection, and the card is on its way to the Barclays Center. A lot of clapping going on there about who they believe could be the next star down in Atlanta. They finished, obviously, 10 games under 500 last year, did not make the playoffs, and so that is one of the reasons they are in this lottery. And if you've been a part of this and covered NBA drafts, it's a fun night. I've covered a few in my time. Sometimes it's you're wondering. Sometimes you're not wondering. I mean, back in 2003 or 4, whenever it was, when the Cavaliers took LeBron James, there was very little wondering what was going to happen that night. But in 2013, and it was interesting, we're talking about let's go back to the Barclays Center as we're about to have the first selection of the draft.
Yeah, the announcers said that they were about to go to the first pick of the draft about 5 seconds ago, but they have yet to do it. So we don't want to bring programming. Obviously, this is all being done by Disney. We'll make sure that we just get Commissioner Silver going up to the podium. So it may be slightly awkward just because we're waiting basically. As you said, when LeBron was the pick, everybody knew. Last year, everybody knew Victor Wembanyama was coming off the board the second that the ping pong balls finished, and they knew the Spurs were getting the pick. This draft, DK, each team might take the full 5-minute allotted time.
Yeah, well, it looks like, again, I think that the pick is in. Obviously, we know that because we saw Atlanta celebrating. So at this point, we're just waiting for the commissioner, David Silver, to make his walk up to the podium. And, again, I'll go back to what I was talking about in terms of the drafts here in this century and the night that they took LeBron in Cleveland. We all knew what was happening. But one of the drafts they coined the worst in this century was another Cavaliers draft when they took Andrew Wiggins back in 2013.
What about Anthony Bennett? Wasn't that Cavs
I'm sorry,
too?
Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, Anthony Bennett.
Anthony Bennett was the pick they took in 2013, and that kind of came out of nowhere that night. So that was
a really weak draft, and he had a really good March, and that's how that went down. Similar to Derek Williams. Derek Williams is a great college player, great sophomore season especially, but what he did to Duke was a big part of that, right?
Oh yeah, and sometimes it's when you get hot, you think you mentioned Derek Williams, a second-round pick, great opportunity for him, made a lot of money, but didn't necessarily live up on the court to that selection space. Did Derek Williams. So, again, the pick is in the first round. Let's see. There's the commissioner. Let's get a chance to hear from him here.
And the pick is in. With the first pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Zachary Rizache from Lyon, France, and France's J.L. Boron-Bress.
All right, Zachary Rizache is how you pronounce it. Rizache is the number one pick out of France, and he will go to the Atlanta Hawks.
What's the staff, do you think, for Commissioner Silver on people helping him to pronounce names tonight?
I'm sure it's been enough years now that he's probably got the class down on this. One of the interesting facts that they're showing up here, his dad played 23 years as a professional across seas.
As I said, it's so hard to gauge based on, grainy YouTube clips and just some highlight packages, like how great a player will be translating, especially this high in the draft, DK. But just what you'll notice, what stands out about this guy is his quickness off the bounce and his length in finishing packages. I mean, he's got a great layup package. And as I said earlier, all the Euros you could imagine, really likes to go behind the back. And most of the highlights I've seen of him is him getting to the basket or blocking shots. So clearly, at the number one pick in the draft, clearly not a household name. Not a lot of basketball fans out there may know Zachary, but if he's number one with the Hawks, there's a good reason for that.
Zachary Rizache is the first player off the board tonight at the Barclays Center, taken by the Atlanta Hawks. The Washington Wizards will have the next pick. They were absolutely terrible last year, and then the Houston Rockets will be right behind them, and that's when we could maybe potentially start to get into some trade conversations in that 5 minutes once the Rockets hit the clock. Again, it's the NBA draft tonight at the Barclays Center. We are bringing you these picks as we get them, and we'll continue to do that this hour as the picks come in. 520-848-1290 if you want to get in, if you're watching the draft tonight. If you know anything about some of these players, maybe that these international players that are not as well known to many here in the United States, we'd like to hear from you as well tonight and give us an opportunity to get to find out and know some of these players. It's DK on the Sports Tip. Cricket is getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Collisions that are reported: Irvington and Midvale Park in Irvington, First Avenue and Limberlost, Grant Road and Tanca Verde, I-19 north of Pima Mine Road with some southbound slowing, 10th Avenue north of 44th Street, that was an overturned vehicle, Drexel west of Craycroft still closed due to a collision. 84 the overnight low. Tomorrow 105 with a chance of showers and about 100 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. With over 100 online casino-style games, Chumba Casino is your go-to destination for nonstop entertainment. Play for fun and play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void or prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
We've got EV Blazers, and your opportunity has never been better to go electric. As a matter of fact, we have 7,500 good reasons for you to go electric. So see us today at O'Reilly Chevrolet.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Let's see, something different for dinner. Searching restaurants near me.
Right here, ma'am. How can we help?
Gee, same old, same old.
Wait, we're right here. Ma'am, our restaurant's just a few blocks from you. Why is she not seeing us?
Back to the usual, I guess.
Ma'am, can you not see us?
Nope, they can't see you. Because you're buried deep in the list of local restaurants. You are invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost, get found, get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. If you're driving right now, you may not be thinking about your tires, but chances are they've been tested before. Like that time you swerved to avoid the stray shopping cart that rolled into the street from nowhere? Or when you had a green light but did some extreme braking because another driver decided to turn left in front of you. And we've all had to navigate monsoon downpours that turned our streets into Arizona's largest slip and slide. At Jack Furrier's, we've helped Arizona drivers navigate these extreme moments for over 60 years with the right tires, the best steel, and a huge in-stock selection of the brands you trust. And now's the time to save big with the most rebates we've seen all year on the brands you love, like Michelin, Cooper, and Uniroyal tires, with up to $100 back all month long. And Jack Furrier cardholders get back another $30. Check out jackfurriers.com for details on all our sizzling summer savings. So for all those critical moments where your tires make the difference, check out Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care.
On a mission to protect free speech, Rumble is one of the only video sharing platforms where you can watch genuine content for free. Rumble is available on desktop, mobile, and connected TV, featuring bold, influential voices. Rumble gives you the freedom to be entertained with exclusive creators, action-packed sports, lively debates, and more. And now you can cut cable. Download the Rumble TV apps and watch independent media on the big screen. Creators such as Steven Crowder at 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday, Kimberly Guilfoyle at 4 p.m. Eastern Mondays and Thursdays, Glenn Greenwald at 7 p.m. Eastern Monday through Friday, and Don Jr. at 6 p.m. Eastern Mondays and Thursdays. Rumble is the place to find authentic expression from creators, a place where we do not censor, but rather believe that everyone should benefit from access to a network full of more ideas, diverse opinions, and dialogue. Join Rumble, where people are given the freedom to be entertained by exclusive content from creators who are empowered to express themselves freely. Visit rumble.com or download the app and watch for free.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Attention. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok and been treated for eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 for more information. Disclosures by multiple Facebook whistleblowers suggest Instagram knows their social media platforms are highly addictive and cause eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation, but have done little to stop it. If your family has been impacted by social media addiction, you could be eligible for significant compensation. Text SOCIAL to 323232 if you'd like to discuss a lawsuit. Text SOCIAL to 323232. Text the word SOCIAL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Motley Rice, attorney Jennifer Guy is responsible for this ad. Motley Rice LLC is headquartered at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina 29464.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports, sponsored by Allstate. The Lynx captured their first Commissioner's Cup last night with a 94-89 victory over the Liberty. Nafisa Collier scored 21 points and earned the game's MVP, while Bridget Carlton added 23 herself. New York led by 10 in the first half before Minnesota rallied to draw even early in the third quarter. And with the game tied at 60 late in the third, Carlton buried one of her 6 triples on the night to spark a 10-0 Minnesota run. From that point on, the Lynx never gave up the lead. Minnesota is the third straight road team to win the Cup and the fourth different team in the event's 4-year history. For the Liberty, Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu each recorded 20-point double-doubles, but not enough to lead New York to a second consecutive Commissioner's Cup. It's a statement win for the Lynx, who own 4 WNBA titles, but not since 2017. With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Amy Lawrence on Westwood One.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. And look at you, hands perfectly placed on the wheel, not like the driver to the right of you who's really going after that drum solo. Save with DriveWise in the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save, because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
At T-Mobile, you can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
DK on the sports tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us to that number. You can text us at that number. The Washington Wizards have made their selection in the NBA draft tonight. It is Alex Sarr, as expected, born in Bordeaux, France. Started playing basketball at 4 years old. So France 1-2 in 2024. France won in 2023. At one point, do they win the Olympics? J-Dub.
Soon. It's going to be Canada, America, and France sometime in the next 8 years or so. Yeah, there's a lot of talent. I mean, just Wembanyama alone, if you think about what he could potentially, kind of force he could potentially be on the international stage once he gets to be in his prime. But yeah, I mean, top 2 players, DK, this year, Alexander Sarr out of France. He reminds me a little bit of your guy, Evan Mobley, in that other than body-wise and as far as his play style, other than he might take a little too many threes for my taste. I think 7-footers who can shoot threes are so valuable, obviously, at this next level. But until you've rounded out a lot of parts of your game, I think what I've seen of Alex Sarr's game, he's been a professional now for 3 years, right? Because he was with Overtime Elite for 2 years, and then he went down to Australia for this past season. He's been in the news quite a bit. But, yeah, certainly a very intriguing prospect just because of his physicality alone. Very similar to Evan Mobley's body.
And this is the second year in a row that the Wizards have taken a French prospect, as they took Bilal Koulibaly.
Yeah,
last year.
Yeah, it was Wemby's teammate.
Yeah. So again, another French prospect going in the top 10. I mean, so we talked about how long before they win a gold medal, but I mean, apparently the development of players in France has just shot up in the last 5 years or so. I mean, that's really impressive.
It's like this. I think it's really tough. You talk to guys like Pelle Larsson's a good example. When you come from a country like Sweden or France that's so famous for other sports. I mean, France, obviously, we all know, loves their soccer, loves their football. So as a youth, right, growing up in a country that is, playing basketball, growing up in Mexico, I'm sure is very similar. There's just a ingrained kids play soccer. That's what happens. But DK, I mean, I don't actually have the full scoop as to why it is, but you're right. I mean, the amount of prep work and the amount of development that must be going in behind the scenes and in a lot of those different French youth groups, clearly it's taken off because 2 back-to-back years, the number 1 pick in the NBA draft is an amateur out of France, and that doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon because there's several more prospects on the board that are going to go before you know it.
Last year was a very United States outside of Koulibaly and Koulibaly. How do you pronounce that?
Your guess is as good as mine. I've tried a few times and I've failed each time.
Bilal Koulibaly. All right, the next pick is in. The Houston Rockets are on the clock. So we'll find out who they are taking now with the 3rd overall pick.
The University of Kentucky.
Just missed it. They took Reed Shepherd out of Kentucky.
So Reed Shepherd out of Kentucky is the 3rd pick in the draft and the first American taken off the board in this 2024 draft. I mentioned last year, outside of the 2 Frenchmen, it was largely United States picks after that up until Jaime Jaquez, who, although very largely a college player in the United States, also wears the banner of Mexico being taken. So I think this year, though, might be slightly different.
This is David Stern's vision in 1985 when they
Right.
started pushing big into international play. Basketball was not big around the world, and they just made such a concerted effort to try to get into a lot of – and, you know, we know the names of Ginobili and Parker and a lot of Spurs in that list. You know, obviously Dirk Nowitzki, the list goes on and on and on. But, I mean, we just talked at the top of the show, DK. There's the last 4 MVPs in the NBA are all international players. So that's the era we're living in.
And the Suns are on the clock at number 22 in this draft. You can head on over right now to our Twitter account at Wildcats1290. You can vote in our question of the day. Are the Suns, Matt Ishbia, James Jones and company, are they going to trade that pick? We thought maybe that we might see something with the Houston Rockets. They had stockpiled some picks, but they hold steady at number 3, and they take the shooting guard out of Kentucky, Reed Sheppard, who averaged 13 points while shooting 54% from the floor last year and 52% from 3.
He got a
That's
great
impressive.
stroke. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And he's also got a reputation of being a solid defensive stopper. Like, that's his reputation coming in as a madman on defense, knockdown shooter. So in that combination, he's obviously super young. Developing to being able to shoot off the dribble more consistently, I think, I mean, obviously at number 3 in the draft, Reed Sheppard's name's been talked about basically since the first or second month of the college basketball season as being a pretty highly thought of prospect. I don't remember hearing him at the top of NBA boards, for instance, when he was a senior in high school. But yeah, I mean, his ability to knock down the open shot, DK, we're living in Steph Curry's world right now. I mean, the NBA is all about knocking down open shots. So anytime you get a 50+% three-point shooter you can add to your roster, that's a guy you're going to look at.
Again, this will be there will likely not be any Arizona Wildcats in the first round of this draft. This will be we saw a couple taken in the first round of the draft 2 years ago with Benedict Mather and Dalen Terry getting selected in that particular draft right there. And so it'll be interesting. It's going to be Keshad Johnson, obviously, in this draft pool, along with Pelle Larsson. Those two young men, however, are not expected to be drafted until the second round of this draft. Last year, we saw Azuolas Tubelis get drafted was he drafted or did he sign with the Sixers?
I think he signed. Yeah,
he signed afterward, after the draft with the Philadelphia 76ers. So this could be 2 years in a row that we don't have an Arizona Wildcat taken in the first round.
Yeah, and I think coaching changes, COVID, there's a lot of reasoning behind that. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. I think there's so much that goes into developing talent out of high school, out of international, and it's really not even so much about what you can do on the basketball court, DK. It's what you can do on the basketball court in modern times in the NBA against modern styles of offense. So Zoo's a great example of that. I mean, Azuolas Tubelis, great college player. Great. I mean, you're talking about a double-double machine at the college level. He falls in that tweener category. Might be maybe 3 inches shorter than he should be to be as effective as what his game is. Those layup packages around the rim, for instance, not a lot of verticality there. To being now he did win MVP in his first league back home. But yeah, it's tough. I think some of the players that we've thought about in the Arizona, as far as the Wildcats draft prospects go, some of them may just be a little bit out of position.
I think they just showed a video of Reed Sheppard throwing out a first pitch. I think Desiree Reed-Francois' pitch might have even been better than Reed Sheppard's first pitch. I think he was at the Freeway Series between the Mets and the Yankees this past weekend.
Maybe he's a little nervous.
So I'll throw this question out to you, J-Dub. We know who in terms of Pac-12 schools, the end of the Pac-12, in terms of the Pac-12 schools, we know who the top 2 are in players drafted to the NBA.
Right.
Those would be?
Well, UCLA
Arizona
and
UCLA. Yeah. So who do you think number 3 is? Number 3 might shock you.
All time?
Yeah, all time. The third school, the school with the third most players, Pac-12 school with the third most players drafted into the NBA.
Drafted all time in the NBA draft.
When I saw this, I was like, wow, it kind of surprised me.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of schools like Oregon and Washington, Cal, for instance, that maybe haven't had great success but have had so many great players come through their programs. I will guess Stanford.
That would be incorrect. You were close on the first three you mentioned. You mentioned Washington, Oregon, and California. They are 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Washington with 59, Oregon with 54, California with 51. But the team with 63 behind Arizona's 78 and behind UCLA's 119, Southern California.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you phrased it, I already knew that was the answer. Are you surprised that your alma mater
I was
has had that
shocked.
many?
I would not have thought that they would be third. Now, I think we've got the fourth pick now. San Antonio is on the clock in Brooklyn.
San Antonio Spurs select Stefan Castle from the University of Connecticut.
All right, so we're getting a run now on American players after the two Frenchmen at the top. Stefan Castle is the number 4 overall pick, and that's who Kyle Boone had. So Kyle Boone, we're going off our CBS Sports guys. Kyle Boone's gotten the first 4 right. He had Zachariah Richare, Alex Sarr, Reed Shepard, and Stefan Castle, 1 through 4.
You know what Stefan Castle's very common comp is?
Very common comp. No.
Andre Iguodala.
Ooh.
A lot of people say that he plays very much like a young Andre Iguodala. So you want to know why he got drafted this high? He's not a very good outside shooter, but as far as the intangibles and everything else that he does on the court, great vision, good ball handling, if he develops into a knockdown shooter. There was a rumor somebody put out maybe 4 days ago. Again, there's so much smoke and mirrors around the NBA draft, but there was a rumor somebody put out that they were standing at a practice and he couldn't make 2 shots in a row over a 25-minute period. 2 shots in a row is what they were saying. And, it's a lot of flame wars going on this time of year. But, yeah, Andre Iguodala is the guy that they talk about, Stephen Castle. And, I mean, if you watch their run to the championship this year and last year, big part of that. This year.
Again, and Stephen Castle averaged 11 points last year on a team that won the national championship. He was the Big East Freshman of the Year in 23-24. What is that? Looks like that necklace. I'm trying to make out what he's got on that necklace right there. But
he's got a lot of diamonds on that necklace.
It's a lot of silver for sure. A lot of silver up there next to Dave Silver up there on the stage. So, okay, the San Antonio Spurs have their pick. The Detroit Pistons are on the clock. Trajan Langdon. There's a Pac-12 name for you. He was a Cavaliers pick back in the day. I was living in Cleveland during that time. Then Trajan Langdon was the selection. Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think Duke.
Was it? Did Trajan Langdon play at Duke?
I think it was Duke. If memory serves.
Could be right then. Maybe he wasn't.
But I think he's maybe from California and went to Duke type of thing. I think if that's right. Or he might have been the one from Alaska. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up.
Trajan Langdon. Let's see where he went. Real quick here.
He is from Palo Alto.
Okay.
And
I think you're right. I think he did play
College Duke, 94 to 99.
Okay.
So I
had that one wrong.
Yeah, he graduated just before that championship game that Arizona and Duke played.
He was the first round pick by the Cavaliers in 1999, the 11th overall selection. Only played in Cleveland for, I believe, 3 years.
One of your favorite all-time Cavs?
I don't dislike Trajan Langdon, but I covered him. So it was during the years that I was there and working and covered him, and those teams weren't very good. Those were the teams that led up to the drafting of LeBron. I think he was there through 2002.
Speaking of not very good, he's now the general manager of a team that's a franchise that's not very good.
14-68. These last two teams, the Wizards and the Pistons, 15-67 and 14-68. That's a lot of losing, and, of course, we talked last week. It cost Monty Williams his job, and so now they still don't have a coach. They got to find a coach to try to turn that situation around there.
Good job, Trajan. I mean, good luck, should I say, Trajan, because he wasn't involved in the Monty signing. He got that job more recently.
Right.
So, yeah, he has to figure out what to do with that roster, figure out what to do with their coach.
All right, Charlotte is on the clock next. We'll tell you who they pick when we come back. Cricket. though, is getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Drexel west of Craycroft, travel blocked due to an earlier collision. Other crashes that are clearing 10th Avenue. North of 44th Street, that was a rollover wreck. I-19 north of Pima Mine Road, still light southbound slowing. Grant and Tancaverdi. First Avenue in Limberlost, also Irvington and Midvale Park. 84 the overnight low, tomorrow 105 with a slight chance of showers and about 100 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com.
Play social games online for free. Head to ChumbaCasino.com now to join the Chumba fun and experience the thrill of the Chumba life. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Time for the hot weather polar bear promise. Alaskan AC arrives in 1 day or your repair is free.
Wait, say that again?
We arrive in 1 day or your repair is free?
Again, but longer on the A.
We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. Hear it?
No. Alaskan AC, service guarantee. We arrive in 1 day
or your repair is free. By George, he's got it. With the Alaskan AC service guarantee, we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Are we really doing this? That's awesome, Gary. With Alaskan AC service guarantee,
we arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
We should probably
sing with us, William.
I would really rather. Come on. I don't want to.
Chicken bok bok.
Guys, no. It's catchy.
Do it.
Sing out, Louise. Fine.
With Alaskan AC service guarantee, we'll arrive in 1 day or your repair is free.
Whoa.
Whoa is right.
Can we get back to work now?
Schedule anytime at AlaskanAC.com.
Incredible.
O'Reilly. Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Dude Wipes presents ASSMR. This is what your butt feels when you clean it with regular, dry toilet paper. And this is how clean your butt feels when you wipe with wet, extra large, flushable Dude Wipes. Ah, refreshing. Dude Wipes. Best clean, pants down.
Introducing Rumble Cloud, a platform that supports business freedom and innovation, where high performance meets pricing predictability. Visit rumble.cloud to get started.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything, from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-290-1583. That's 800-290-1583. 800-290-1583.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Final phases of today's show, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. NBA draft happening tonight. All right, Kyle Boone of CBS Sports, his streak is broken here with the 5th overall selection. He had the Pistons taking Mattis Bazelis after he had gotten the first 4 picks right. But the Pistons instead go with Ron Holland II, who played for the Ignite team in the NBA G League last year. So that is your 5th pick, and he is going to the Motor City tonight. Again, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. The Charlotte Hornets will be the next team on the clock, followed by the Portland Trailblazers. Let's give you right now, while we have an opportunity, to our Desert Diamond Casino replay for today.
And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, so after the Tennessee Volunteers won the national championship the other night in baseball, college baseball, the head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies, Jim Schlossnagle, was asked about whether or not he might be leaving Texas A&M to potentially go coach the team at Texas. It had been rumored that that was about to happen. Jim Schlossnagle got a little bit upset with that question, called it a selfish question that was asked by the reporter, and said some things and that kind of gone viral around the world. Talked about he left his family and came to Texas A&M to be the coach at Texas A&M, and that's what he was going to do. And let's in fact hear what it was that he said that night.
Coach, with respect to the difficult outcome tonight, but with the rumors circulating today about a specific job opening, what do you have to say about your future in Aggieland?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty selfish of you to ask me that question, to be honest with you. But I left my family to be the coach at Texas A&M. I took the job at Texas. I took the job at A&M to never take another job again, and that hasn't changed in my mind. And that's unfair to talk about something like that. That'd be like you asking Montgomery if he's going to sign in the draft. But I understand you got to ask the question, but I gave up a big part of my life to come take this job, and I've poured every ounce of my soul in this job, and I've given this job every single ounce I can possibly give it. So write that.
So write that, he said. Okay. Less than 24 hours later, he was, in fact, the head coach of the Texas Longhorns baseball team. Now, obviously, there's a connection between himself and the athletics director at the University of Tennessee, or Texas, I should say, Chris Del Conte. They worked together at TCU. And so when he was introduced today at Texas in Austin, he had this to say about his decision and the way he phrased things the other night.
I was asked a question after our game the other night. We're playing for the national championship. And as I said in my press conference when I took the A&M job, there would never be a time that I wasn't invested in that program. And there never was a time I wasn't invested. I gave when I say our staff, we gave everything we possibly could to win that last ball game. And when the game ended, I want to publicly apologize to Richard Zane from TexAgs. He's a young reporter. He asked the question. That was an obvious question. I wish I could have answered that better. But in the moment, 30 minutes after the last pitch, all I could think about was our players. And I really wasn't in the mood to talk about myself or the future. So I apologize for that to Richard.
That was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
So Schlossnagle's taking a lot of heat from across the country. Jim Rome did an entire segment on this today on his show. If you heard that earlier, the only thing I take issue with, again, coaches are going to sidestep these questions when they're asked it. I think there's a better way to handle it. I mean, calling a reporter selfish for asking the question, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. Reporters are, you know the question is coming. You don't necessarily have to take offense to the person asking the question. Just formulate an answer, whether you don't want to answer it or not, but don't make it about the reporter that's out there doing their job. And so good on him for going out there and apologizing for it today. But again, there's coaches have to learn that there's better ways to handle these situations, and that wasn't the right way to do it. All right, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program, 520-848-1290. The Charlotte Hornets are now on the clock. The NBA draft, we are in round 1. We were hoping to maybe get through 10 picks tonight. It looks like we may only get through, say, we'll be lucky if we get the next 2 picks in, the Charlotte Hornets and the Portland Trail Blazers. Again, the Pistons tonight have drafted the young man from the G League Elite. And, JW, your thoughts on that pick there? Oh, J-Dub's on the phone right now. So we'll continue talking here. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. J-Dub, your thoughts on the Pistons pick there at number 6 or number 5?
I missed it. They get Ron
Holland the second.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Holland, again, is another name who's been kind of one of those guys who rises in the eyes of a lot of scouts and gets claimed as the best 8th grader, best 9th grader, that whole thing. Yeah, because, I mean, scouting goes all the way, to first year at junior high these days. He spent quite a bit of time in pro. He was a big part of that, the G League stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, he's young enough that he has so many different holes in his game he can work on, but he's got all the tools. It's just a matter of where he can put it all together.
It's going to be interesting to kind of watch that development for sure. Again, the Suns will pick number 22 tonight, so they still have some time to go. Will they trade that pick? You still have some chances to get in on our poll. Will the Suns trade their pick in the first round? That is our question of the day. Head on over to Twitter right now at Wildcats1290 and vote in that poll. We've heard the owner, Matt Ishbia, talk about how trading or draft picks are for collateral. So the question is, will he trade that right now? 100% of you saying yes, he will trade it, and maybe he will also trade a player along with that pick. It didn't happen near the top. We thought it might with the and we have another pick here coming in. It'll be the Charlotte Hornets on the clock. So Dejone Solon is the pick at number 6 for the Charlotte Hornets, another player out of France. So that is now 3 players from the country of France that are taken in the top 6 picks of the NBA draft. Again, that's a pretty impressive run by the country of France. If you've lived in France, love to hear from you. We probably won't get to you tonight, but maybe tomorrow. We still have some time, though, 520-848-1290. If you've watched French basketball and does this surprise you at all that we're seeing such a dramatic run of French-born players the last 2 years who are going into the NBA? That's now 5 in the first round the last 2 years.
Remember when Kobe got drafted? And younger people listening may not understand, but there was a time when drafting an 18-year-old into the NBA was just you didn't do that. It wasn't a thing, right? So Kevin Garnett did it, had some moderate success. A couple years later, Kobe came in. Everybody knows how that went. There was a run, DK, for 10 years where almost every single team tried to pick the next great 18-year-old. Maybe Wembanyama's success last year is just we got to pick up every single Frenchman we possibly can because there's something going on over there. And one of these guys, or maybe our guy, is going to be that next guy.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, when one team does it, one team changes their offense, and then everybody follows suit, which we've seen in a lot of sports. It's kind of the same thing we're seeing here maybe with Victor Wembanyama gets drafted, and now everybody said, okay, well, let's see what the talent's like over there and how that might translate into the National Basketball Association.
He's got a bit of reputation, from what I understand, as a good shooter, and I think if you're coming out of European leagues and you obviously have that knockdown shooting touch, then that's step one. If you're not a uber over the top next level Giannis type of athlete, I think if you're a knockdown shooter, you can develop younger players. And that's what I was on the phone, but that whole Ron Holland thing, one thing I've heard is that as far as him shaping out in his game, that efficiency of the offense still has some work to do. So again, some of these younger players, I've seen some highlights of this young man. It's so hard for me to compare relatively to what that will look like. I'm waiting for Summer League. Just Summer League alone, when you start getting, because Summer League's got some 29, 30-year-old grown men who have grown men bodies and have that NBA athleticism, maybe not quite the skill set. So it'll be interesting to see what some of these younger players from overseas come in and look like just running up and down the court against some of that NBA level physicality.
Richard Jefferson is on the broadcast tonight on ABC. Arizona Wildcat taken with the 13th overall pick in 2001. One of the many lottery picks that have worn the Arizona uniform. Boy, the Wildcats had a run. They had a run on lottery picks between 1999 and 2011. Well, if you could maybe go back to the 95 pick of Damon Stoudemire, but most of the picks coming in from 95 to 2015, that's a 20-year stretch out of the University of Arizona, were lottery picks, beginning with Damon Stoudemire at number 7, Mike Bibby at number 2, Jason Terry at number 10, then Richard Jefferson at number 13. Andre Iguodala was a 9th overall selection. Channing Frye was an 8th overall selection. Jared Bayless was taken 11th overall. Jordan Hill, number 8. He was a teammate of Chase Budinger. We heard from him yesterday, now a volleyball player, and that run ended with Derek Williams being the 2nd overall pick at the time, matching the number 2 selection of Mike Bibby. And since then, of course, the Wildcats have had a number 1 overall selection with DeAndre Ayton back in 2018. Of the players selected in the last 10 years, you do have some rotational guys, some mainstream rotational guys in the NBA. Aaron Gordon obviously being one of those guys. Lauri Markkanen being one of those guys. DeAndre Ayton being one of those guys. And Benedict Mathurin being one of those guys. A lot of the younger guys still trying to find their way, like your Dalen Terrys, Zeke Najis, Josh Greens, who we have talked about. And then some of the guys going back a little bit later are now no longer in the league. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, Stanley Johnson, Solomon Hill among those first-round picks who got some opportunities in the National Basketball Association. And now Donovan Clingan, well, so we did get the 7th pick, is about to be, I think I may have stolen that for you there. But
everybody knows what he could do.
Yeah.
And any college basketball fan saw that, that just as far as a presence around the rim, like he's a very impressive young man. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the NBA.
So 2 UConn players taken in the first. 3 Frenchmen and 2 UConns, 2 Huskies.
Back-to-back NCAA championships.
Yeah,
We'll do that
in the 7th, in the first 7 picks of this
How many
NBA
years before
draft.
both those guys are playing for the Knicks?
I don't know. That'd be a good question. The Knicks would be pretty good if they could get that many. He is the 2nd UConn player drafted in the top 10 in the last couple of years, or in this draft, obviously. And I believe they've had a number over the course of the last few years as well. A 2-time national champion there at the University of Connecticut. And, of course, there was a lot of talk about whether his coach would be in the NBA. And that obviously did not happen, as Danny Hurley went out and interviewed with the Los Angeles Lakers, but opted not to take the job and will remain at UConn to try to win a 3rd consecutive title. All right, the San Antonio Spurs will be the next pick, but we will be off the air when that takes place. We'd like to thank you for joining us. Thanks to Alec Cipollone from Burn City Sports for being our guest. Again, don't forget, Rich Eisen debuts here on Monday at noon on the Wildcats Radio 1290. Looking forward to adding his show. We'll have much more coming up for you on next week tomorrow, so join us for that. For J.W. Madden, for Cricket, my name is David Kelly. That's our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you at 3 o'clock tomorrow. It's DK on the Sports Tip. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With collisions that are reported, we do have that closure. Serious crash Drexel west of Craycroft. And again, west of Craycroft on Drexel, travel is closed due to a collision. Rollover wreck 10th Avenue north of 44th Street. Grant Road and Tanca Verde, 1st Avenue in Limberlost, and also Irvington and Midvale Park is clearing. And for your weather, overnight 84s are low, 105 tomorrow with a chance of rain, and 100 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The Cravings Value Menu from Taco Bell. 10 items each for